Chapter 2183. Nine-tailed Soul Devouring. The nine-tailed demon sovereign unleashed the power of its 9 tails and instantly locked onto the spirituality fusion body. It wrapped around it from 9 directions, trying to trap it within. Ha ha ha, it's useless. Facing the 9-tailed divine power, the fusion body laughed a few times and activated its super spirituality absorption. The power of the 9 tails was instantly countered by the spirituality fusion body, and it continuously poured into the fusion body. The 9-tailed demon sovereign was shocked and quickly withdrew its divine power. However, the fusion body had already absorbed 1/3 of its power. The fusion body's target was Yi Chun. Otherwise, the 9-tailed demon sovereign would definitely die. Yi Chun, become our host body. Is that so? Just when the fusion body was about to devour Yi Chun, he suddenly opened his eyes. The effect of the 9-tailed illusion had disappeared instantly. It turned out that the 9-tailed illusion could not shake Yi Chun's martial will at all. Before the demon's eye, this level of illusion was like a floating cloud. He had been waiting for this moment, waiting for the fusion body to voluntarily come to him in order to escape. The fusion body looked at Yi Chun coldly. He felt an ominous feeling, but he could not figure out the cause of this feeling. Looking at Yi Chun was like looking at a vast abyss. If he entered it, it would be hell. No, this person is different from before. Unfortunately, it's too late for you to understand. What? The fusion body released the ultimate killing divine power, wanting to get rid of Yi Chun's primordial spirit first. Supreme spirituality method. Primordial spirit plunder. The 2 great spirituality accumulations released their strongest power to seize Yi Chun's primordial spirit. However, they did not know that Yi Chun was the source of the spirituality accumulation, the heir of the heavenly spirit Buddha. Heavenly spirit curse, control. Yi Chun's eyes emitted white light, and the shadow of the heavenly spirit Buddha appeared behind him. No, impossible. Feeling the spirituality source, the 8th and 9th spirituality accumulations were shocked. Only now did they understand that they were not seizing the host body. They were walking into a trap. The 8th and 9th spirituality accumulations returned to my control. Mima, the heavenly spirit curse filled the entire space. Countless runes entangled around the fusion body and instantly locked onto the core of their power. They could only submit under the heavenly spirit curse. No, the 8th and 9th spiritual accumulations were controlled by the heavenly spirit spell and returned to Yi Chun's body. What's going on? Yi Chun has absorbed the spiritual fusion body. Isn't this too ridiculous? How did he do it? What does the Buddha behind him mean? The demon tribe combatants watched the scene before them, completely clueless as to what had just happened. All they saw was that the chi accumulation had been devoured by Yi Chun, becoming part of Yi Chun's strength. The chi and demon master's grand plan, which he had been planning for a long time, had been destroyed by Yi Chun's hands. Damn it! When the chi and demon master saw that his treasures had been completely absorbed by Yi Chun, he could not contain his anger. He wanted to kill Yi Chun and take back what belonged to him. Yi Chun, give me the ultimate psyche kernel. Otherwise, there won't be a corpse left. Ha ha, Chi and demonic lord. The reason why I'm facing you head on this time is to obtain the ultimate spiritual accumulation. Now that the ultimate spiritual accumulation is in my hands, is there still a need for me to fight with you? When this emperor cultivates the heavenly spirit sacred technique and grasps the ultimate spirit accumulation, we will have a battle. You stole this demon lord's treasure and still want to leave alive? What a joke. The Chi-Yin demon master waved his claws and issued an order to kill. The 3 demon venerables, White Eyes, 9 Tails, and Heavenly Dragon attacked one after another, surrounding Yi Chun, trying to seal off his escape route. The 3 demon venerables were mystic immortal rank super combatants. Against Yi Chun, the 3 of them had absolute confidence. As long as they blocked off Yi Chun's escape route, the rest would naturally be handled by the Chi-Yin demon master. Yi Chun, you won't be able to escape. How dare you try to play tricks in front of the demon master? Unfortunately, only death awaits you. Hee. So what if you're a genius? Before Lord Qi Yin, you'll have to return everything you have. The ultimate psyche kernel isn't a treasure that you can enjoy alone. Hand it over now. The three demon venerables sneered and unleashed all kinds of demonic abilities and secret techniques. In the face of such a dangerous situation, Yi Chun smiled coldly and pressed his palms together. The 9 great psyche kernels surrounded Yi Chun. In such a grand scene, the three demon venerables' divine abilities and secret techniques were all absorbed by the ultimate psyche kernels without any effect. What? How could this be? Was this the power of the ultimate psyche kernel? The three demon venerables were shocked at the same time. They did not expect that they could not stop Yi Chun from releasing the psyche kernels, even when they joined forces. The power of the 9 psyche kernels combined was no longer comparable to the previous independent psyche kernels. Now, Yi Chun had absorbed the 9 great psyche kernels and used the heavenly spirit spell to control these psyche kernels. He could completely activate their power and let them fuse organically. No form of demonic ability could escape the devouring of the 9 psyche kernels. True demon power. In the face of Yi Chun in such an invincible state, the Qi Yin demon master personally attacked and released the true demon power. In an instant, the world darkened. Endless strange demonic ability turned into sharp claws and attacked Yi Chun. Sensing that the demonic ability released by the Qi Yin demon master was completely different from the 3 demon venerables, Yi Chun's eyes turned slightly cold. Although the 9 psyche kernels could weaken the true demon power, they could not directly destroy it. This was the Qi Yin demon master's greatest strength. The true demon and ordinary demon venerables were on 2 different levels. Boom, boom, boom. The psyche kernels in front of Yi Chun shattered one after another. The true demon power continued to invade and turned into various ferocious beasts as if to tear the enemy in front of him apart. Psyche kernels, 9 transformations of the true spirit, sky-devouring roar, dragon chimera, primordial demon ape. In the face of such a vast demonic ability, Yi Chun did not continue fighting. With the support of the 9 psyche kernels, he released 3 mutated Dharma forms. The 3 primordial demon beasts moved out one after another, charging wildly toward the Qi Yin demon master. Taking advantage of this moment to catch his breath, Yi Chun stepped on the golden lotus and escaped underground. Where do you think you're going? Naturally, the Qi Yin demon master did not want Yi Chun to leave. A vigorous palm print combined with the true demon power shook the surroundings and destroyed everything. Boom, boom, boom. Under the powerful impact of the energy, the sky-devouring roar, dragon chimera, and primordial demon ape all shattered and turned into nothingness. However, Yi Chun's figure also disappeared and could not be tracked. Yi Chun had easily escaped from the Qi Yin demon master's hands. His strength was astonishing. At this moment, the 3 demon venerables did not dare to raise their heads. Before Yi Chun, the 3 super mystic immortal rank demon venerables were like insignificant soldiers. This result was the greatest humiliation to the Red Demon clan. The Qi Yin demon master was enraged. The true demon power erupted and the 3 demon venerables bore the brunt of it, vomiting blood. The 3 demon venerables' bodies were shaken by the true demon power. Their meridians surged and their qi and blood rushed. Their primordial spirits were forced out by the Qi Yin demon master, and they knelt on the ground. Chapter 2184. After leaving the demon tribe army, Yi Chun relied on his psionic power to find the location of the spatial formation that he had set up earlier. Great Emperor Yi. Seeing Yi Chun's return, many powerhouses had tears streaming down their faces. They had waited here for too long. The people from the demon martial world had arrived forcefully and put too much pressure on them. Although they were powerhouses, under the pressure of the Qi Yin demon lord, their minds were almost broken. If the Qi Yin demon lord had not found the location of the 8th and 9th spiritual pool, they would have been in trouble. Guard your minds. Don't be confused. Yes, Yi Chun returned. The spiritual pool swept across the surroundings, and all kinds of suppressed, demonic energy dissipated. Everyone sat cross-legged and recovered their primordial spirit power. Great Emperor, did you gain anything from this operation? The Patriarch of Hell asked. Of course, it was a great harvest this time. Yi Chun told the Patriarch and Wu Shuang about his improvement this time. Both of them were amazed. He had obtained the 9 spiritual pools. Now, he was going to bring everyone to the heavenly spirit Buddha's place to absorb the remaining spiritual pool power. This was the best way for the Patriarch and Wu Shuang to improve. Golden Lotus Sword Boat. Yi Chun released the Golden Lotus Sword Boat. Everyone boarded the boat and headed toward the heavenly spirit Buddha's place. The surrounding space changed rapidly. It was Yi Chun who released spatial power that allowed the sword boat to travel through space and enter the heavenly spirit Buddha's sacrificial platform in the fastest and most covert way. A moment later, everyone disembarked from the sword boat and saw the sacrificial platform. The surrounding space was filled with powerful spiritual pool power. Even all kinds of immortal power had merged into it, making many powerhouses feel an unprecedented baptism. This is the place of spiritual pool origin. Absorb the remaining spiritual pool, and your foundation can ascend in the shortest time possible. Thank you, Great Emperor. Everyone bowed and thanked Yi Chun for his gift. Yi Chun nodded slightly and looked up into the sky. Previously, the heavenly spirit Buddha had said that he had failed to defy the heavens and died here. Then, was there any secret above the sacrificial platform where the light gathered? Immortal Technique Wings. Yi Chun activated the Immortal Technique Wings and flew up to the sky. As he climbed higher, Yi Chun felt the strength of the immortal power laws in the surrounding space increase significantly. This feeling of immortal power, could it be the primordial immortal empire? Back in the underworld, Yi Chun had sensed Sage Lei Yun's immortal force law. Now, he felt that it was much more powerful than before. Was there an entrance to the primordial immortal world above the 9 heavens? Now that he had mastered the 9 skanda power, Yi Chun's foundation had improved beyond its limit. Therefore, he could move freely. Is the heavenly spirit Buddha really from the primordial immortal empire? Hoo. While Yi Chun was deep in thought, he felt a gust of cold wind wash over him, and a chill hit him. The 9 spiritual accumulations in his body naturally protected him, absorbing and disintegrating the cold immortal power in front of him. Who dares disturb my peaceful cultivation? Suddenly, a voice came, making Yi Chun stop walking. Who's here? Yi Chun asked. 9 skanda immortal power. You are the successor of the heavenly spirit Buddha. Yi Chun was shocked when he heard that. This person knew about the heavenly spirit Buddha. Who exactly was he? At this moment, a cold wind swept through the sky. In a place where the clouds were rolling, a white-haired, youthful-looking old man appeared. Senior, you know the heavenly spirit Buddha. Are you his old friend? Brat, aren't you the heavenly spirit Buddha's disciple? No, I'm Yi Chun, a human heavenly emperor. I'm just reincarnated this time. Human heavenly emperor? How arrogant. I've cultivated for tens of thousands of years, but I've never seen what the heavenly realm looks like. You, a brat, actually call yourself a heavenly emperor. What a joke. Old man, I won't waste my breath on you. Who are you? The young man before him was incomparably arrogant. He did not show any signs of fear when he saw the old man. Just his boldness alone was not something an ordinary genius could possess. Moreover, Yi Chun possessed the 9 skanda power. The old man nodded slightly in approval. The old man stepped forward and said with a smile, I'm Xiaoyao Sanren, a close friend of the heavenly spirit Buddha. Back then, the two of us made a bet to see who would break through the limits of the heavenly Tao and ascend to the heavenly realm. I didn't expect him to never return. I wonder if he's doing well now. Yi Chun was puzzled. The heavenly spirit Buddha had passed away below, but this Xiaoyao Sanren did not know. Now, he was asking about the heavenly spirit Buddha's whereabouts. It seemed that before the heavenly spirit Buddha passed away, he must have designed some formation to block the communication between the two realms. The heavenly spirit Buddha failed to break through. He was too ashamed to see you, so he passed away below. What? Xiaoyao Sanren frowned slightly. A powerful aura swept over, making Yi Chun feel extremely cold. However, the nine skanda power protected its master again, forcefully dissipating the cold pressure. You have the spiritual origin, the core power of a good friend. It can be transmitted to you. It seems like he's really gone. Xiaoyao Sanren revealed a desolate expression. He had cultivated for tens of thousands of years for the return of the heavenly spirit Buddha to break through the limit together, but he did not. He looked at the ground below and shook his head slightly. Yi Chun sized up the person in front of him. This person's cultivation base was unfathomable. At a glance, it was all chaotic information without any flaws. Yi Chun did not want to use the ancient god, to observe by force. Otherwise, it would not be good if this person became hostile. I wonder if Senior has made any progress in cultivating here. The carefree Tao technique that I cultivate has already entered the transcendent state. Becoming a heavenly immortal is only a matter of time. Heavenly immortal? Yi Chun's heart skipped a beat. According to the fragmented memories in his mind, becoming a heavenly immortal was a necessary condition for him to ascend to the heavenly realm. In order to retrieve all his memories, Yi Chun had no choice but to advance to the next level. However, it was still too early to think about this. Kid, did it shock you? Or perhaps you simply don't understand what realm a celestial immortal is. How can a heavenly emperor not know the true intent of a heavenly immortal? Calling you a senior is just me being polite. You can't really think that you have the qualifications to be a senior before this emperor, right? Good lad, as expected of someone valued by the heavenly spirit Buddha Supreme. He has his own style. I'll say it again. The heavenly spirit Buddha and I just met by chance. When we met, he had already passed away and chose me as his successor. We are not fated to be master and disciple. Good. Xiaoyao Sanren smiled slightly. Although his old friend had passed away, this child was in line with his preferences. Just like how the heavenly spirit Buddha respected him, this was good too. It could be said to be another kind of inheritance. Senior, are you and the heavenly spirit Buddha from the primordial world? Oh, why do you ask? Xiaoyao Sanren looked at Yi Chun and revealed a smile. Chapter 2185. Yi Chun walked to Xiaoyao Sanren and said, the spiritual power accumulation technique that heavenly spirit Buddha cultivates targets immortal power laws. To be able to reach such a level, one must be a genius from the primordial immortal world. You're indeed smart. Although we are cultivating in the primordial immortal empire, we are not natives of the primordial immortal empire. I am an unaffiliated cultivator. As the saying goes, the four seas are my home. As for the heavenly spirit Buddha, to be exact, he is from the Buddha realm. Buddha realm. That's right. He was a venerable from the Buddha realm. He wanted to break through and descend to the primordial immortal realm to cultivate. However, he was unable to ascend to the heaven realm. This was a great regret. As the successor of the heaven spirit Buddha, if you could fulfill this last wish for him, I believe he would definitely be gratified in the afterlife. Yi Chun smiled lightly after hearing what Xiaoyao Sanren said. Carefree wanderer, regardless of whether the heavenly spirit Buddha has such a last wish or not, I will ascend to the heaven realm. The grudge from back then must be settled. Kid, you're really like a celestial emperor in your previous life. It doesn't matter. It's rare to have such boldness. Enough nonsense. Do you know what the primordial immortal empire is up to? Yi Chun wanted to obtain information about the primordial immortal world from this person. After all, the demon martial world had already made a move. The primordial immortal world would not sit still. Xiaoyao Sanren looked at Yi Chun with a disdainful smile. It seemed like the primordial immortal world had nothing to do with him anymore. However, for the sake of the successor of the heavenly spirit Buddha, he said, Yi Chun, the primordial immortal world has nothing to do with me anymore. As for what you said, It should be related to the recent movements of the demon martial world, right? Huh. You actually know about the demon martial world. The carefree hermit knows everything. What's so strange about that? The devil and martial empires and the primordial immortal empire are both extremely powerful forces. They're not something a mere perfected immortal can handle. For the sake of the heavenly spirit Buddha, I advise you not to cause trouble. You should improve yourself first. The primordial immortal empire and the demon martial empire's actions concern the safety of the underworld. As the underworld king, this is my responsibility. Sai, there are always people who think highly of themselves and go against the natural order. Carefree Sanrin goodbye. Yichen scoffed and flew away, ignoring him. But he did not leave the vast floating clouds realm. Instead, he looked upwards because he could feel the presence of the laws of immortal power. This place might very well be related to the primordial immortal empire. Within the Netherworld Battle Mansion's territory, the Qi Yin demon master had lost track of Yichun, which was equivalent to losing the Qi condensation. How could he let this go? Search! Search! We must find Yichun. Yes. The demon tribe generals below were dispatched. 1,000,000 demon soldiers wreaked havoc in the spirit-nurturing valley to find Yi Chen's location. Meanwhile, on the sacrificial altar, the combatants of the Netherworld Battle Mansion followed Yi Chen's heart cultivation method and absorbed the Qi reserve energy from the sacrificial altar. As time passed, many combatants broke through their limits and used the Qi reserve to improve their foundation. The entire Spirit Reservoir Valley had become the domain of the demon race. Within the storm of demon energy, all living things were destroyed. This place had turned into a dark land of death. The three great demon venerables each led hundreds of thousands of troops to search for Yi Chen's whereabouts. Above the sacrificial altar, Yi Chen observed the secrets of the floating clouds realm alone. As the floating clouds surged, Yi Chen saw the fusion of various immortal power laws. In such an environment, carefree Sanrin's cultivation base must be unparalleled, perhaps even above the heavenly spirit Buddha. Yi Chen sat cross-legged in the air and within the clouds, feeling the waves of immortal power laws. The power of these immortal power laws was even stronger than the 18 spirit pearls on the sacrificial altar. 18 spirit pearls. Yi Chen released the 18 spirit pearls of the Buddha in his body. The 18 spirit pearls floated in the air and forcefully absorbed the immortal power laws in the surrounding space. Secret Buddhist Venerable Technique. After obtaining the Buddha Light Sarira, Yi Chen had mastered the heavenly spirit Buddha's various divine powers and secret techniques. It was only a matter of familiarity. Using the Buddhist Venerable Technique, the speed of absorbing the immortal power laws increased more than 10 times. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Soon, the 18 spirit pearls hovered around the Buddha Light Sarira. Waves of pure immortal power laws surged toward Yi Chen like a whirlpool. This situation lasted for 20 hours. Yi Chen felt the Buddha Light Sarira's power increase rapidly. There was even a new power surging within it. This was the power that the heavenly spirit Buddha had hidden in the Buddha Light Sarira. This power was condensed from the pure Buddha realm laws. It was different from ordinary immortal power laws. Bathed in Buddhist light, Yi Chen's heart trembled. Electricity flickered in his mind, and memories began to gather. Among them, the figures of many supreme combatants in the Buddha world appeared. These figures were what Yi Chen had seen when he was heading to the Buddha world at the beach. Among them, there was an almighty who released thousands of rays of golden light to open the way for Yi Chen. There was a revered Buddha from the Buddha realm who climbed the 8 treasures glazed pagoda to meet Yi Chen. The power of the revered Buddha was monstrous and shook the universe. Its power was limitless, and it had the bearing of a Buddha king or a Buddha venerable. It was impossible for Yi Chen to meet such figures now. However, through the guidance of the heavenly spirit Buddha's golden light, the memories in his mind were recovering. These memories seemed to have existed in his mind for a long time, descending into this world along with the opportunities of his past life. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The absorption of immortal power laws had reached its limit. Yichen did not know how much immortal power he had absorbed. The power in his body was like a spring. His entire body was trembling, and there was even a surge of immortal power urging him to release it. Huh, what a good place to cultivate. Xiaoyao Sanren, no wonder you're cultivating here. Yichen stood up and exclaimed in his heart. More than half of the immortal power laws in the surrounding clouds had been absorbed by Yichen. At this moment, a hole had appeared in the sky. Yichen looked at the hole and found that there seemed to be the evolution of the sun, moon, and stars. However, soon, the sun shone brightly and the stars dissipated. What's so mysterious? Let me see. He flew up and controlled the yin-yang wings, charging straight toward the hole. On a cloud below, Xiaoyao Sanren looked up at the sky with a shocked expression. It turns out that the mystery that I've never understood is hidden above the 9 layers of clouds. I can't see through it, but it was broken by this kid. Is this really God's will? Xiaoyao Sanren was confident that he was very talented, but he could not comprehend the mysteries of this place, even after cultivating for 10,000 years. Yi Chun, on the other hand, had only been here for more than 20 hours, but he had already broken through the celestial law barrier. The difference in talent was unimaginable. Ha ha ha, since it's God's will, I'll fly up. Xiaoyao Sanren laughed a few times and flew up at the same time, heading toward the hole. Yichen spread his wings and entered the hole. In an instant, the entire space shifted and he entered another domain. Chapter 2186. In this space, spiritual light bloomed around him, and a natural fragrance flowed in the space. This fragrance made Yi Chun feel very comfortable. He walked toward the source of the fragrance and saw a huge lake. In the center of this lake, there was a huge mirror-like disc, and on the disc, a woman in white was cultivating a sword technique. The reflection of the moon, the lake, and the mountains, endless sword chi turned into fish in the water and birds in the sky. The mysteries of the law operation amazed Yi Chun. Such a sword technique can only be found in the sky. Yi Chun could not help but exclaim, "Who is it?" Suddenly, the woman's brows furrowed, and sword chi shot out at Yi Chun. Although the woman's sword technique was unparalleled, Yi Chun was a powerful person. With a move of his sword finger, the Heavenly Emperor sword chi shot out and collided with the sword chi. In an instant, waves of sword chi swept across the entire lake, causing ripples on the clear lake surface. Under the impact of such sword chi, there were only ripples. It was obvious that this lake was not ordinary. Heavenly Emperor Yi Chun, sorry to disturb you. Yi Chun broke through the other party's sword chi and flew out automatically. Since he came to the host place, he had to act like a guest. Heavenly Emperor Yi Chun. Hearing this name, the woman actually revealed a look of shock between her brows. "Miss, why are you surprised? Do you think I'm bragging? I just thought of a legend in the primordial world." "What legend?" "Once upon a time, in the heavenly realm above the 9 heavens, there was a heavenly emperor who cultivated to the supreme, overarching golden immortal. He broke through the 9 heavens and was invincible. However, he suddenly disappeared without a trace." Hearing this, Yi Chun frowned slightly. This legend seemed to be related to what happened to him back then. I wonder if the legend described the reason why he disappeared in the end? Sai. Master told me that that person defied heaven and was suppressed by the 10 great immortal kings of the heavenly realm and destroyed by heavenly lightning. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Yi Chun laughed wildly. Waves of ancient god power filled the surroundings, and the entire lake kept shaking. It was as if there was an endless roar coming from the depths of the earth. It was extremely terrifying. The woman's eyes turned slightly cold. She released all the immortal power in her body and forcefully suppressed the vibration. Then, she looked at Yi Chun. "You truly are rude, barging into my territory. A trifling true immortal dares to act so arrogantly. You deserve death." The female immortal was enraged. She flew up, and sword chi filled the 9 heavens. In the surrounding lake, water vapor rose up and turned into sword chi. Together with the female immortal's sword technique, An exquisite sword formation appeared and locked onto Yichun. So what if you're a true immortal? How can the wonders of the world be your territory? This emperor will let you understand a principle today. There's still too many things that you haven't seen. Ha! You really dare to say it. The female deity waved the spiritual sword in her hand, causing the lake to surge and the sword chi to be boundless. So. Boundless sword chi charged toward Yichun. Each sword chi contained a powerful peak mystic immortal law. Wherever they passed, not even a blade of grass grew. Even a peak true immortal would not be able to resist such a sword might, let alone someone who had just entered the true immortal realm. Releasing such a sword might show that the female immortal was enraged by Yi Chen's rudeness and had developed killing intent. Although mystic immortal law is powerful, it's just nourishment before the Buddha's light relic. Yi Chen moved his finger and guided the Buddha's light relic to fly up. The relic's light covered the entire lake. At this moment, the water vapor and sword chi that flew up from the lake were all absorbed by the Buddha's light relic. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Under the powerful suction of the spiritual essence, the sword chi released by the female immortal was also absorbed by the Buddha's light relic. Following that, energy exploded, and behind the Buddha's light relic, an apparition of the heavenly spirit Buddha appeared. Impossible. The female immortal was shocked. Yichun was only a mere true immortal. How could he activate such a treasure that could absorb the exquisite sword formation she released? She thought about how Yichun would die, but she did not expect that not only was Yichun fine, but he even broke through her sword formation. Such an outcome put the female immortal who had the home advantage in an awkward situation. So what if you're a mystic immortal? Wasn't this ability easily broken by a true immortal that you look down on? You think you could be arrogant just because you used such a treasure? If I take out a treasure, I'll make you die a horrible death. Oh, I like to see that. Yi Chun smirked. He wanted to see what treasure this female immortal would take out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The female immortal's body emitted golden light, and a piece of bamboo jade appeared in her hand. She activated her mental cultivation method, and the bamboo jade released multiple rays of light. These rays of light quickly evolved into words and floated in the air. Each word emitted light like the golden words released by the heavenly Tao Gate. It could judge the suffering of the world and the laws of the world. Seeing these words, Yi Chun felt a sharp pain in his head. He used the ancient divine power to suppress the pain. You don't have the ability to read these heavenly book words. Let me tell you, this is just a fragment of the heavenly book words. If you want to read them, you need to be at the peak mystic immortal attainment level. Those who are below this level will have a splitting headache once they see these words. The four symbols will be chaotic, and they might even explode and die. Yi Chen's behavior was completely within the female immortal's expectations. However, what she did not know was that Yi Chen's headache was not simply because he saw these words with his true immortal attainment level. It was because these words triggered deep memories in him. You're saying that this is just a fragment of the heavenly book? Where was it originally? Rather than saying it's a fragment, it's better to say that it's some content that a primordial powerhouse copied using spiritual power. However, it's enough to make you sink completely. As for you wanting to read the original version, you're dreaming. If that's the case, I'll take this fragment with me. What? What a joke. You don't have that ability, you piece of trash. Yi Chen's eyes turned cold and his anger rose. Looking at the sky again and seeing those words, Yi Chen felt a sharp pain in his head. However, it was definitely not because of the words themselves. Instead, it was because of a super artifact that he had obtained in his past life. The Heavenly Book of Jade Law. The Heavenly Book of Jade Law had played a key role in the process of Yi Chen cultivating to Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. If he had not seen these heavenly book words, he would not have obtained this memory at all. Now that he had obtained this memory, it was necessary to look for the heavenly book. The fragment of the heavenly book before him was the best clue. Little girl, I'll teach you to respect your seniors. What? Be ***, you deserve to die. The female immortal was enraged when Yichen called her that. Her killing intent surged. Chapter 2187. Soaring Cloud Sword. Seeing that Yichen was unshakable, the female immortal released her treasures and attacked Yichen with the heavenly scroll fragment. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Several flying swords flew out, all of which were supreme-grade immortal weapons. They were filled with killing intent and were unstoppable. Facing such a powerful attack, Yichen was not afraid at all. His attention was on the heavenly scroll fragment because the memory in his mind made him understand the importance of the heavenly scroll fragment. Star-picking palm. Yichen channeled the ancient divine power in his body. After adding the spiritual accumulation, the power of the ancient divine power increased greatly. The star-picking palm released with the ancient divine power was completely different from before. This was a true divine ability. Clang, clang, clang. The star-picking palm swept through the wind and clouds, stirring the stars. It instantly caught several flying swords. Even the supreme-grade immortal weapons could not escape Yichen's hand. It was clear that the power of the star-picking palm was no less than an immortal weapon. Such a powerful ability. This person is not using ordinary immortal power. What's going on? As a peak mystic immortal, she was unable to take down a true immortal. This made the female immortal feel extremely humiliated. As the disciple of the immortal berserker, she could not afford to lose face. Mighty heavenly scroll, 7 stars kill. She chanted and activated the power of the heavenly scroll fragment. At the same time, she activated the ultimate killing technique of the 7 flying swords. In an instant, the space within 100 miles was plunged into a boundless killing formation. In this space, the 7 flying swords were like Yama. Even a mystic immortal would die on the spot, let alone a true immortal. Using such an advantage, she thought that she would win. Little girl, you're forcing yourself into a dead end. Seeing that the other party was determined to kill, Yichen smiled coldly and reminded her, ***, you snuck up from the lower realm. You deserve to die here. There's no need to say more. The female immortal's 7 flying swords moved at the same time. They contained the power of the heavenly scroll fragment and were powerful enough to kill a mystic immortal. Facing such power, Yichen naturally would not be careless because he was determined to get the heavenly scroll fragment. Ancient divine power, whirlpool sword. Yichen used ancient god power and the heavenly emperor sword array. The ancient god's eye bloomed between his brows and activated the ancient god's domain. Hoo-hoo-hoo. His wings spread open, and the might of an ancient god reached the heavens and the earth. The majestic ancient god power condensed into the shape of a huge heavenly emperor sword that stood 300 meters in front of Yichen. Subsequently, the ancient god power triggered a boundless cyclone. Sword chi burst forth, and the chaotic world was swept away. The powerful suction force crushed everything. So. The 7 flying swords locked onto Yichen's body. However, when they passed through the heavenly emperor sword vortex, they lost their ability to fly and were controlled by the sword vortex. What? Looking at this scene, the female immortal was stunned. This was a sure kill formation that she had built using the heavenly book fragment and the 7 great immortal weapons. How could it fail? Not only did the 7 flying swords fail to kill Yichen, but they even fell into Yichen's hands. The female immortal's mind exploded. Impossible, impossible. She could not stop shouting and activating her mysterious immortal foundation. She wanted to crush Yichen by force. Such a foundation is still nothing in this emperor's eyes. However, Yichen had absorbed the power of 9 spiritual accumulations. Although he was at true immortal stage, his foundation had long surpassed peak mystic immortals. It was easy for him to fight this person. Buddha's light Sarira, ancient god explosion. Activating the spiritual accumulation source, Yichen's foundation increased by dozens of times again. Coupled with the ancient god might, it was even more powerful. Dragon fist, air-piercing strike, roar. A dragon's roar was heard. Heaven and earth shook and the clouds exploded. A dragon-shaped fist aura instantly locked onto the female immortal's position and swallowed her. Berserk sword technique, destructive earth form. The female immortal knew that this attack was a battle of life and death. She forcefully used the Berserk Sword Sage's most powerful divine ability that she had yet to master, Berserk Sword Technique. This was an attack that she had to bet everything on. Zung. Sword chi filled the sky, and the Berserk sword stirred up the world. Roar. The dragon's roar shook the world, and the ancient god destruction 10,000 miles. The two powerful attacks bloomed in the sky with the most beautiful sparks. Following that was an extremely powerful shockwave that instantly destroyed the realm in front of them. The mirror-like lake's surface completely exploded. The mirror platform in the lake was also destroyed. Roar. Everything continued to explode. However, a dragon's roar shook heaven and earth. The dragon-shaped fist aura broke through the Berserk sword energy and instantly locked onto the female immortal's position. The powerful dragon fist attacked her. The female immortal's body shook rapidly, and she completely lost control of herself. All the meridians in her body shattered, and she became a cripple. Yichen had held back. Otherwise, this person would have exploded and died. Heavenly Writing Fragment. Yichun used the star-picking palm again and directly grabbed the Heavenly Writing Fragment. Various heavenly writing words appeared on the Heavenly Writing Fragment. It was trying to resist Yi Chen's control. Ah, copy. You really don't recognize me anymore. Yi Chen sneered. The star-picking palm forcefully grabbed it, not allowing it to disobey. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Finally, the Heavenly Writing Fragment fell into Yi Chen's hand. Instantly, various heavenly writing words entered his mind. The strengthened impact on his consciousness made Yi Chen feel as if the heavenly writing was right before his eyes. However, it was not real after all. A copy. Let me study it properly. I'll see how you've accomplished yourself. Yi Chen put the heavenly writing fragment into the ancient god space and flew away. At this moment, the female immortal was lying in a pool of blood. Her body was trembling like a child in the rain. Thud, thud, thud. Following a series of footsteps, several combatants came before the broken mirror platform. Senior Sister Shuiyu, what happened to you? Who's so daring to do this to you? Who has the ability to do this? Many combatants asked, but Shuiyu had already lost consciousness. After leaving the mirror paradise, Yi Chen came to a place with a wide view. Looking at the surroundings of the paradise, he confirmed that this was the primordial immortal empire. The primordial immortal empire's immortal power is strong indeed. It's much denser than the lower realm. Cultivating in such an environment will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Yi Chen muttered to himself. He also knew that this female immortal must be extraordinary. She had the heavenly writing fragment, and the person behind her was incomparably powerful. Now that he had the fragment, Yi Chen did not want to stay for long. After all, everyone was still cultivating in the sacrificial platform. He had to hurry back. Yin-yang wings. Yi Chen activated the ancient god wings and flew down. In the sacrificial platform, everyone was still cultivating and absorbing the remaining spiritual convergence. Yi Wushuang, the patriarch, and other powerful combatants with outstanding talent had broken through again. They were already on the verge of becoming half-step true immortal. Of course, it was not that easy to break through to true immortal. According to their talent, they needed the support of natural treasures. However, Yi Chen did not need that. After passing through the floating clouds world, Yi Chen descended along the sacrificial platform's alternate space. Soon, he found that the floating clouds world space-time was somewhat different from the one below. Clearly, time passed faster down there. Great Emperor. Seeing Yi Chen return, everyone stood up to welcome him. Chapter 2188. Have you guys made any progress? Yi Chen asked. Everyone smiled. Although this cultivation period was short, only a few days, it was much better than their previous centuries of cultivation. This was the effect of the spiritual convergence. Even a few genius cultivators like Yi Wushuang had obtained even more benefits. This cultivation of the spiritual convergence was like 1,000 years of work. Haha, Great Emperor, this cultivation is too awesome. I've never experienced it before. Looking at your spiritual convergence, I don't know how much you've absorbed, but you can still hold on. We've already reached the limit of absorbing this spiritual convergence. Those who are greedy will definitely explode and die. The patriarch stepped forward and smiled. You're right, patriarch. The spiritual convergence we've absorbed isn't even 1/10,000th of the Great Emperor's, but it's already the limit. The Great Emperor's talent is too amazing. Great Emperor, did you find anything in this trip to the upper realm? All the powerhouses stepped forward and asked. In their eyes, Yi Chun had been in the upper realm for dozens of days, so they wanted to know what Yi Chun had experienced. Yi Chun was a person with great fortune, so he must be different. Yi Chun nodded and stepped forward. This trip to the floating clouds world was indeed amazing. Not only did I see a super strong independent cultivator, but I even ascended to the primordial immortal world. Primordial immortal world? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. The primordial immortal world was an existence above the spirit realm. It was the most desired place for cultivators. If anyone could ascend to the primordial immortal world while at true immortal stage, it was simply a blessing of several lifetimes of cultivation. Seeing how relaxed Yi Chun was, everyone was shocked. The primordial immortal world is on this sacrificial platform? The patriarch asked. You could say that. This sacrificial platform is the floating clouds world. It's a strange space. You can see it as the space between the primordial immortal world and the sacrificial platform. When I entered the floating clouds world, I saw a super strong independent cultivator who is equivalent to the spiritual convergence origin heavenly spirit Buddha. Huh? How powerful is that person? Some powerhouses were so shocked that their jaws dropped. This person's cultivation base is unfathomable. I think it's very likely that he has surpassed heavenly immortal stage. He just hasn't ascended yet. Heavenly immortal? Everyone was shocked once again. Entering the celestial immortal realm meant that one was qualified to ascend to the heavenly realm. According to the legends, the human race's sword god, Ao Giojo, had ascended to the heavenly realm when he was in the celestial immortal realm. Of course, this was only a qualification. Only those with extraordinary talents had a chance to ascend to the celestial immortal realm. This was because the price of ascending to the heavenly realm was to pass through the 18 reincarnation tribulation formation. This was not something that anyone could pass through. Basically, not even 1 out of 100 could survive. After that, I entered a time-space gap from the floating clouds realm and ascended to the primordial immortal realm, where I obtained this treasure. As soon as Yi Chun tossed it, tens of thousands of streaks of golden light appeared in midair, preventing everyone from opening their eyes. Some powerhouses forced their eyes open, but what they saw were words that they could not understand. They were lost in them on the spot. Guard your spirit and strengthen your spirit. Otherwise, you will fall into the boundless reincarnation cycle of the heavenly characters. Hearing the 2 words heavenly scroll, the powerhouses were stunned. They had never heard of such a treasure. This was something that only existed in legends and myths. Yi Chun had brought it down from the primordial immortal realm. How much luck and strength did he have to be able to do that? At this moment, everyone's admiration for Yi Chun was indescribable. Everyone followed Yi Chun's instructions and guarded their spirit and energy. When they opened their eyes slightly, they saw the heavenly scroll fragment. Looking at the shining heavenly scroll fragment, everyone felt that their spirit had received some kind of baptism. That feeling was that their whole body was clear and their meridians were flowing extremely smoothly. However, the strange thing was that they did not know what had happened to their bodies. It was like a gift, coupled with the spiritual accumulation power that they had absorbed earlier and the effect of the heavenly scroll words. Everyone's strength increased again. Rumble. At this moment, demonic energy soared into the sky and shook the surroundings. Countless mountain rocks shattered and fell. The entire Spirit Reserve Valley fell into endless tremors. This was the appearance of the arrival of the demonic energy army. Everyone, this is an emergency. Let go immediately. Yes. Yichen put away the heavenly scroll fragment and quickly left with everyone. At this moment, the sky was extremely dark. The entire Spirit Reserve Valley seemed to have fallen into the darkness of demonic energy. This place had completely become the demon tribe's world. This kind of barrier clearly suppressed everyone's cultivation, causing many powerhouses to even show various symptoms of physical discomfort. In such an extreme environment, everyone could only trust Yichun. Yichun, the powerful demonic sound, swept over and directly rushed into everyone's mind. Some powerhouses could not resist the demonic sound's brainwashing. They all knelt on the ground, their minds in a trance. Concealment of spirit. Yichun shouted and released the ancient god power. The powerful ancient god power was even more overbearing than the demonic sound. In such an urgent situation, Yichun could only use this method to forcefully suppress the disturbance of the demonic sound. The ancient god power overshadowed the effect of the demonic sound. Everyone got up again and followed Yichun. Yichun used spatial force to open a passage from the sacrificial altar to the netherworld. However, the rapid interference of the demonic energy greatly hindered the spatial force. The darkness pool. In a moment of desperation, Yichun used the nether god power again. The darkness pool turned into a huge and infinitely growing tree of darkness, wildly extending toward the surrounding mountain walls. The demonic energy could not affect the areas covered by the tree of darkness. Go! Under Yichun's creation, the branches of the tree of darkness turned into stairs, and everyone hurried up. At this moment, the flame Chi demon lord had already sensed the existence of darkness energy. He knew it was Yichun. Don't even think about escaping. The flame Chi demon lord released endless demonic energy and turned it into a giant demonic energy sword, directly chopping at the tree of darkness. Rumble. The giant demonic sword instantly shattered the stairs, and many powerhouses fell. Accompanied by terrified cries, they fell into the demonic barrier below. Go! Yichun gave the order. Everyone did not dare to hesitate and quickly ran. Rumble. At this moment, suddenly, the sun in the sky was blinding. Immortal power surged, and a huge space-time door opened. This is Yichun frowned. He knew the power behind this space-time door. He released the ancient god power, and everyone grew a pair of wings. Their speed was unbelievably fast. Yichun wanted to quickly send everyone out of this dangerous place. Otherwise, they would be attacked from both sides and die without a doubt. Where's Yichun? A powerful, thunderous voice shook all directions. A majestic figure descended. Looks like you're the immortal berserker sword. You're Yichun? That's me. How about it? Ha ha ha. The immortal berserker sword's maniacal laughter shook the 9 heavens. His cold eyes locked onto the person before him. Hand over the heavenly scroll fragment and die. Chapter 2189. The fragment of the heavenly book. Hearing the words of the arrogant sword immortal, the flame Chi Devil Master was slightly tempted. For an expert from the primordial immortal empire to come all the way here to search for it, it must be a treasure. Ha ha! Yichun, I didn't expect you to steal a treasure from the primordial immortal empire. Why don't you leave it to me? I'll kill this guy for you. What do you think? The Chi Yin demon master stepped forward, luring Yichun with the intention of obtaining the treasure. What kind of person was Yichun? He was here to show off his insignificant skills. Chi Yin demon master, if you can defeat this person, I am willing to offer you the heavenly book fragment. Since the other party wanted to play, Yichun would naturally wait with a smile. Really? Of course. Yichun sneered in his heart. It could not be. This person really thought that he would hand over the heavenly writing fragment. Was this the rough side of the demon clan? If the Chi Yin demon master really went up against the immortal berserker sword, the pressure on Yichun would be greatly reduced. This was a good idea. All right. 3 great demon venerables, keep an eye on Yichun. Let this demon master meet this primordial immortal world person. Yes, Lord Chi Yin. The three great demon venerables circled around Yi Chun, ready to attack at any time. It was clear that the Qi Yin demon master was not an idiot. Instead, he had a backup plan. Yi Chun did not move. How could these three good-for-nothing stop him? What he wanted to see was the battle between the Qi Yin demon lord and the immortal berserker sword. Whoosh! The Qi flame devil lord flew into the void, his cold eyes locked onto the opponent in front of him. Since he wanted the people of the Brink realm to descend, then they would be the greatest threat to the demon race. This was the Qi Yin demon lord's true thoughts. Since they were all targets that had to be eliminated, then he would first eliminate the one that he felt was the greatest threat. Oh, you really want to stand up for this kid? Taoist Master Berserker Sword asked. Ha, Taoist Master Berserk Sword, there's no need to say so much. Immortals and demons cannot coexist. You sure are straightforward. Since that's the case, why should I give you face? Initially, the immortal Berserker Sword had wanted to target Yi Chun, but when he saw the scene before him, he knew that the people of the demon martial world would never let go of the primordial immortal world's grudge. In that case, this duel with the Qi Yin demon lord was unavoidable. He wanted to get rid of the biggest enemy before him first, and then deal with Yi Chun slowly. Meanwhile, both of them thought that they had made the best choice. Little did they know that they had fallen into Yi Chun's trap. Berserk Sword. A roar of rage rang out as a sword appeared in Taoist Crazy Sword's hand. The sword energy emanated boundless power, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Countless devil warriors, as well as many true immortal experts, all had looks of terror on their faces. What is this? Just how strong is this person? How can he unleash such power? Too powerful. The demons were intimidated and retreated in fright. Taoist Master Berserk Sword had established his might with a single move. Ha ha ha! In the face of such might, the Qi Yin demon lord laughed maniacally, waving his claws and summoning demonic flames. Hoo! Boundless demonic flames erupted crazily, surrounding the area of 100 miles around Taoist Master Berserk Sword, instantly transforming into the Qi flaming demonic world. Perfected one. Many primordial immortal empire experts shouted, "Don't get close. Get back." Yes, they were well aware of Taoist Master Berserker's personality. He could only retreat. At this moment, Taoist Master Berserk Sword held the Berserk Sword in his hand. Immortal energy erupted from his entire body and automatically circled around his body, forming a protective barrier. Chi. The devil flame and the sword Qi neutralized each other, clashing against each other. Kill! Taoist Master Berserk Sword flew out and charged straight at the Qi Yin demon lord. Come on! The demon lord flew up at the same time, waving his claws. The surrounding devil flame was like a raging python, swallowing madly. Taoist Master Berserk sword techniques were unable to exert sufficient effect and were swallowed by the devil flame. This unfavorable situation made Taoist Master Berserk Sword realize that this person had an extraordinary foundation and powerful abilities. Ha! True demon power. You can see the source of my power. Extraordinary. Kill. Taoist Master Berserk Sword released a high-level sword technique, which contained power close to heavenly immortal power. Heavenly immortal power erupted and instantly countered true demon power. Both sides fell into a tug-of-war again. Seeing this, Yi Chun smiled slightly. This was what he wanted to see. True demon power and heavenly immortal power were forms of energy that ordinary people could not reach. Now he had seen them all. Yi Chun secretly absorbed a portion of true demon power and heavenly immortal power and integrated them into the ancient god space for analysis. Although it was very difficult to analyze such power before reaching such a level, Yi Chun's foundation was peak mystic immortal. At the same time, he possessed nature-defying powers like nether divine power and ancient god power. Naturally, he was different. Hiss. In the ancient god space, the two forces began to fight each other. Yi Chun could only use ancient god power to suppress both sides, and use the demon eye and the ancient god eye to analyze. At the same time, on the battlefield, the battle between the Flame Demon Lord and Taoist Master Berserk Sword was getting more and more intense. To a large extent, this battle represented the struggle between the immortal and demonic realms. The battle progressed very quickly, but time passed even faster. After 2 hours, Yi Chen had a basic understanding of the power of both sides. Ordinary energy analysis would not take so long, but such high-level energy forms were completely different. For Yi Chen, who was at true immortal level, the burden was too great. Taoist Master Berserk Sword isn't at a disadvantage in the Flame Demon realm. He's powerful indeed. The Flame Demon Lord's control of the demonic flame had reached the point of perfection. Boom, boom, boom. Under the battle between the two super powerhouses, the entire Spirit Nursery Valley fell into a state of collapse. The world was in chaos and the earth was in turmoil. Such power was earth-shattering. Retreat. The powerhouses retreated one after another. How would they dare to stay in a place like this? Fortunately, the powerhouses of the Netherworld Battle House had temporarily left this place under the guidance of the Patriarch and Wu Shuang. Otherwise, such an explosion of demonic energies would affect them. Between heaven and earth, the intensity of demonic energies and immortal energies had reached their limits. All kinds of alternate dimensions had appeared. This was extremely dangerous. If one was accidentally affected by the power of these alternate dimensions, they would die. Boom, boom, boom. Such an alternate dimension kept appearing between the two of them. I didn't expect such a spectacular scene. The Flame Demon Lord said, "Use your blood as a sacrifice for the end of this battle." Taoist Master Berserk Sword's brows furrowed. It was time for the battle to end. With a long howl, Berserk Sword howled and waves of heavenly immortal force appeared. You actually gave up the right to ascend. What do you think? Unfortunately, I'm also a true demon of the demonic martial realm. Do you think I'll lose to you? At the same time, the Flame Demon Lord unleashed his powerful true demon energy, covering the entire sky. Both of their powers had reached their limits. This attack would decide the victor. This moment was what Yi Chen had been waiting for. Everyone's attention was on the battle between the two super powerhouses. This was the best time for Yi Chen to act. At the same time, he had also locked onto their true demon energy and heavenly immortal force. Chapter 2190. Berserk Sword, Chaotic Rain Clears Clear Autumn. Taoist Berserker Sword ascended to the 9 heavens like a deity descending to the mortal world. His celestial force triggered the heavenly thunder and the 10,000 swords were enlightened. At this moment, a grand dharma of guidance appeared behind him. It was formed from the guidance of the celestial realm after he cultivated to the peak of the celestial realm. To be able to evolve such a dharma idol, it could be seen that Taoist Master Crazy Sword was definitely an outstanding figure among the heaven immortals. He was someone who was truly qualified to ascend to the heaven realm. The Qian Devil Lord laughed angrily, waving both his claws at the same time. A heavenly devil statue appeared behind him, and in an instant, a boundless demonic might shook the world, the power of destruction descending upon the world. Boom! In an instant, everyone's field of vision was filled with shocking changes as the Dharma powers clashed. Demon control, raging flames of heaven and earth. In the Chinkoan Great Earth, demonic flames flourished and the true demon moved. The heavenly demon's shadow destroyed the 9 provinces. At this moment, the Flame Chi Demon Lord unleashed his purest and strongest true demonic energy, absorbing the energy of the entire Flame Chi Demon realm and unleashing an unimaginable power. One of them took the form of a demonic claw, while the other took the form of a sword, and both of them attacked each other. Whether it was the demon race warriors from the Demon Martial Empire or the immortal spirit experts from the primordial immortal empire, the magnificence of this battle had already surpassed their imaginations. This was the most valiant head-on battle they had ever seen in their lives. So. The sword aura was wildly battling the 9 heavens. The demonic flames burned in all directions. The ultimate attack was right in front of him. Boom! The entire space was plunged into disorder. At this moment, Yi Chun suddenly unleashed his most powerful underworld deity power and instantly devoured the barrier before him. The three great demon venerables were lured over. Yi Chun controlled the yin-yang force and soared into the sky. Ha! Qi and Devil Lord, arrogant sword Taoist, why don't you let yours truly be the judge? Roar! The heavenly snake black tortoise appeared, and the devouring dome descended once more. The heavenly snake black tortoise protected Yi Chun's true body, while the devouring dome absorbed the true demon and heavenly immortal energy. Hoo! The entire space spun toward Yi Chun, turning into a dark vortex that sank endlessly. What a powerful force! Awesome! Yi Chun's voice reverberated through the sky, shocking both the Qi Yin Demon Master and the immortal Berserker Sword. Both of them looked up into the sky and saw that Yi Chun had forcefully absorbed the remaining power of the divine powers they had released. They were shocked. Even a peak mystic immortal would explode and die if they absorbed this power, let alone a true immortal. They could not believe that Yi Chun would dare to do this. This kid is crazy, Taoist Mad Sword said. This person is a madman. I've already thought it through. Seeing Yi Chun's behavior, the Qi Yin Demon Master was already mentally prepared. After all, Yi Chun's previous actions had already shocked him, but this time he was even more shocked. Since we can't determine a victor, why don't we capture this person together? The Qi Yin Devil Lord said. How can the people of the primordial immortal empire team up with you demons? Ridiculous. Taoist Master Berserk Sword struck out once again. His sword shook the entire heaven pass as he rushed towards the flame Qi Demon Lord. Damn it, the Demon Lord didn't expect that Taoist Master Berserk Sword would still dare to use such a sword style, even though he was heavily injured. He was immediately enraged, and the Sky Demon Shadow appeared behind him once again. He struck out with his palm, breaking apart the sword style and capturing Taoist Master Berserk Sword. Go! The immortal Berserker Sword slapped at the same time. Powerful heavenly immortal power triggered the receiving Dharma form. The might of the heavenly Tao was so powerful that it instantly swept away the demon barrier. The Qi Yin Demon Master felt his internal energy stagnate. His demonic ability was blocked, and he retreated 30 feet. At this moment, Yi Chun had absorbed the power of the two powerhouses and gathered it in his body, carrying it through the ancient god space. Following Yi Chun's roar, the heavenly immortal power and true demonic power in the surrounding space exploded again. This time, everyone was shocked and ran for their lives. Boom! This attack was no less powerful than the previous battle between the two powerhouses. It spread in all directions, causing heavy casualties to the demon tribe and immortal tribe. Go! Yi Chun watched as everyone panicked and responded. He spread his wings and soared into the sky. Because the previous battle was too intense, the two powerhouses were heavily injured. They could barely keep themselves together, so they did not have the ability to chase after Yi Chun. The three demon venerables guarded the Qi Yin Demon Master against a surprise attack from the immortal realm, while the people from the immortal realm guarded the immortal Berserker Sword against a surprise attack from the demon realm. This standoff lasted for a moment. The two powerhouses recovered from their injuries and looked at each other. This battle is really satisfying. Do you still want to continue, immortal Berserker Sword? The Qi Yin Demon Master asked with a smile. Humph, Qi Yin Demon Master. The Demon Martial Realm's action will definitely trigger the Primordial Immortal Realm's counterattack. This is the most unwise choice you've made. With that, the immortal Berserker Sword released the sword boat. Everyone boarded the boat and flew away. Yi Chun left the Spirit Reserve Valley. This time he had gained a lot. Not only did he obtain the Heavenly Army and the 9 accumulations, but he also obtained true demonic power and heavenly immortal power. These extremely precious energy samples were very beneficial to his future cultivation breakthroughs. His wings flapped and combined with the Golden Lotus Stomp. Yi Chun's speed was clearly not inferior to the Magic Tool Divine Boat. In fact, it might even surpass it. Finally, after flying for several hours, Yi Chen landed on a mountain peak. Here, Yi Chen designed a formation to cover himself while he sat cross-legged and analyzed the two powers in his body. The ancient god space that was strengthened by the spiritual accumulation and the eight gates heavenly disk improved his analytical ability. He instantly locked onto the two powers. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Under the rapid analysis of the ancient god space, the heavenly immortal power and true demonic power were analyzed to 70% and 60% respectively. Phew! Yi Chen exhaled and opened his eyes. The power in his body was still surging. The energy he absorbed this time was too intense. Yi Chen had not fully digested it even after 3 days and 3 nights. However, the results of the analysis were enough for Yi Chen to use. Find the patriarch and the others. Yi Chen was worried about the patriarch and the others' safety, so he released his immortal power to contact Yi Wushuang. After all, as the main body of the Heavenly Emperor's sword, the connection between Yi Wushuang and Yi Chen transcended time and space. Northwest. He flew up and charged toward the northwest. At the edge of the underworld realm, a majestic fleet appeared. Evil Overlord, we've arranged for the entire army. Depart. Yes. The majestic evil spirit fleet rushed out of the underworld realm's restrictions and headed toward the lower realm. Their target was the underworld god and Yi Chen. The evil overlord's eyes were extremely sharp. His killing intent was hidden, and he was extremely shrewd. After learning about Yi Chen's various actions, he wanted to fight this person personally this time. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Ever since it obtained the heavenly scroll fragment, it had been resisting Yi Chen's will. This puzzled Yi Chen. Although it was a replica, it should not be so rude to its own master, right? Heavenly scroll fragment. Are you warning me about something? Yi Chen thought of another possibility. Could he find the heavenly scroll of Yuli through the heavenly scroll fragment? This was Yi Chen's biggest worry now. Chapter 2191. After leaving the Spirit Reserve Valley, enlightened being Arrogant Sword was furious. As a super expert of the Heaven Immortal Realm, not only did he fail in his pursuit of a mere true immortal, but he even allowed him to take away his precious heavenly writing fragment. How is he going to wash away this humiliation? Moreover, now that the demon and martial world was invading the spiritual realm on a large scale, the primordial immortal world couldn't just sit back and watch. They had to respond. Immortal, what do we do now? This Tao Master will immediately contact the other experts of the spirit realm. We must keep an eye on the flame, Chi Fiend Lord. Taoist, Berserker, sword flew to the top of a mountain and activated the talisman. Sky Immortal Summoning. After releasing the spirit talisman, immortal energy instantly filled the 9 heavens. Waves of immortal energy flew towards all directions of the spiritual realm, attracting the hermits of the primordial immortal realm from all directions. These hermits had originally cultivated in the primordial immortal empire, but they had returned to their natural state and found other ways to cultivate. They returned to the spiritual empire and lived in seclusion. Usually, they did not care about worldly affairs. But once the primordial immortal empire had a powerful expert that called for them, they would naturally return. In the famed mountains and great rivers of the spiritual realm, many Zhu powerhouses woke up one after another. They were summoned by Taoist Bodhisattva and headed towards the spirit-storing valley. Ha ha ha! This time, I have released the ultimate summoning talisman. As long as it is an expert from the primordial immortal empire, they will come forward to help. Don't worry, everyone. We will be the vanguard of the primordial immortal empire's entry into the world. How about that? The enlightened master is wise. All the experts bowed and responded. As the summoning talisman spread out, immortal energy spread out, covering the entire space within a radius of 10,000 kilometers. Within 3 days, experts from all over the primordial immortal empire came to pay their respects to the Mad Sword Immortal. Esteemed spiritual master, we pay our respects. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. This operation is of great importance. It's like this. Taoist Berserker, sword, told them about the various things that had happened around the Spirit Reservoir Valley. After hearing such news, the experts were still very motivated. After all, if they could obtain merits in such a great battle between immortals and devils, they wouldn't need to hide in the spirit realm to cultivate. Instead, they could receive guidance from the primordial immortal empire supremacies, and they might even be bestowed with treasures. This way, their cultivation would progress by leaps and bounds. Please instruct us, perfected one. We will obey. Very good. I knew it. As long as you are an expert from the primordial immortal empire, you are all disciplined. This time, when my true self descended into the spiritual realm, I was attacked by the Chi-Yin Devil Lord, causing the heavenly tones fragment to be lost. On one hand, all of you have to monitor the Chi-Yin Devil Lord's movements, and on the other hand, find this person's whereabouts. With that, the immortal berserker sword pointed with his finger. Immediately, a portrait of Yi Chun appeared in midair. This person is so arrogant. He actually dares to take away the sage's treasure? An expert asked in confusion. This kid is a lunatic, but he's extremely talented and has an extraordinary foundation. Don't act rashly when you see him, or you'll die. You have to inform me immediately, understand? Understood. Although they said it clearly, many of the hermit powerhouses were peak true immortals or even mystic immortals. They looked down on a mere true immortal like Yi Chun. They all thought that as long as they could obtain the heavenly writing fragment and offer it to the enlightened one, they would be rewarded with unlimited rewards. This was the greatest opportunity. Everyone move out. Yes. Everyone flew out one after another, full of energy. Yi Chun used his immortal power to sense, and soon found clues about the patriarch and the other sword boat. However, according to Yi Chun's speculation, the range of their movement had completely exceeded the calculation, which meant that they might have encountered a phenomenon. What's going on? According to the immortal power, the sword boat should be within 1,000 miles. But there's no clue when I look with the god eye. This made Yi Chun very anxious and difficult. Although the patriarch and the others' abilities had increased greatly, their overall strength was still between peak itinerant immortal and true immortal stage. It would not be a problem for them to face ordinary powerhouses, but if they encountered a super powerhouse, it would still be insufficient. Yi Chun activated the ancient gods on many times to look for their whereabouts, but he did not get a good result. Continue searching. He would not give up so easily. He flew out and headed in the direction he had sensed earlier. The spirit realm mainland was vast and boundless. Although there were also spirit mountains and great rivers, most of them were uninhabited wastelands. This time, the direction Yi Chun was heading in was a place he had never been since he entered the spirit realm. The place he began to walk into was like a desert. The energy here was very thin, but there was an ancient aura in it. Yi Chun sensed the form of energy in the surrounding space. He found that the energy here was completely different from the energy around the spirit-nurturing valley. The energy here was very thin, but there was an ancient aura in it. After the Great War of the Three Realms, the True Spirit Palace, the Spirit Emperor, and the other forces in the spirit realm had been destroyed or gone into hiding. There were still few people here, but there was no one here. Moreover, there was a strange atmosphere everywhere. This situation made Yi Chun very uncomfortable. I've been walking for a few hours. Why is the environment the same within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles? Yi Chun was very confident in his senses. He believed that he was not lost, but had fallen into a certain realm. This realm was different from ordinary formations. It was a natural creation combined with special laws. Just as Yi Chun was furious, melodious flute music suddenly came from afar. The flute music revealed an ancient aura. Powerhouses could immediately tell that the flute music was guiding them. No matter where this place is or who's there, why should I be afraid? Yi Chun strode forward. It was called the Ninth Heavenly Steps. Layers of illusions appeared, and soon he arrived at the source of the sound. God He Fong, show yourself. A domineering voice resounded throughout the entire area. The surrounding space shook because of Yi Chun's powerful voice. Countless sand and stones flew, filling the sky. A farewell song, a heartbreak song. Oh, ha ha. Yichen laughed and pointed his sword at the sandstorm in front of him. Immediately, the sandstorm exploded, and the surrounding environment quickly became clear. Do people who hide their heads and hide their tails have such fun? Huh. Young man, don't be so arrogant. Do I need you to teach me how to do things? Let me ask you, do you see a sword boat? Sword boat? Ha, I don't see it. Yichen locked onto the other person's eyes and expression. It was obvious that the other person was lying or even deliberately provoking him. Since that was the case, if he did not show some strength, the other person would not talk so easily. Thunder Sword. Controlling the power of the Nine Thunder God, Yichen's sword chi sped toward the person. Oh, such powerful sword chi contains the heavenly Tao Thunder God law. Extraordinary. Take this. The sword chi broke through the sandstorm and arrived before the person's brow. Return. However, as soon as he said that, the sword chi froze in the air. Subsequently, space reversed and attacked Yichen. How is this possible? Yichen's heart trembled. His ancient divine power automatically erupted to protect his master. Chapter 2192. Clang. With a clang, the ancient god's star-picking palm appeared behind Yichen and caught the sword energy in front of him. Then, the ancient god power forcefully crushed it, and the returning sword energy crumbled instantly, turning into scattered sand and floating away. Yichen thought, it seems like the sword energy is being returned, but it's not the sword energy that I released. There must be some special process involved. This person's swordsmanship is amazing. Kid, you have a special power in you. It's extraordinary. Old man, I'm interested in your swordsmanship too. Ha ha. If you could take a blow from me, I'll tell you where the sword boat is. If you can't, then you'll give me all the power you have. How about that? Ha. If I can't take it, do I still have a right to choose? Cut the crap and come at me. Smart. The flute in the old man's hand spun rapidly and revealed a rotten, dry face like a mummy crawling out of a grave. It was very strange. However, Yichen did not care about the appearance. What he cared about was the swordsmanship that the old man used. The old man coveted the ancient god power in him, and Yichen wanted to understand the strange swordsmanship that the old man used and how it made his sword energy return. Yichen stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes were sharp and locked on the swordsman before him. The swordsman's lips curled into a very cold smile. Sand and stones flew around him. Chaos was coming. Pay attention. The flute was thrown into the air. Endless flying sand gathered toward the flute along with the sound of the flute. Then, it turned into a sword shape and locked onto Yichen. It looked like an ordinary sword, but Yichen could sense that it contained a powerful and strange power of the power of laws. This feeling was very clear. This was Yichen's natural sense of danger, and it would not change because of the environment. Yichen narrowed his eyes slightly as he watched the sword blended into the sandstorm and attacked him. The speed of the sword energy was very slow, and it seemed to be getting slower, as if it had entered a slow-motion space. Yichen felt his movements become slow at the same time. It turned out that the moment the sword shape was formed and released, the surrounding space was already under the control of the sandstorm. Zong! The sandstorm came, and the sword shape slowly became clear. When Yichen noticed it, the sword shape was already in front of him. Ha ha ha, genius! He's just a fool. Yichen heard the old man's domineering voice clearly. It was clear that the old man knew the outcome of the battle. The sword before him had already locked onto Yichen's life. Hoo. At this moment, the sandstorm dispersed rapidly, and the sword struck between Yichen's brows. Subsequently, the sword did not penetrate Yichen's head. Instead, it turned into countless scattered sand and covered Yichen's body. Chi. As the scattered sand stagnated, Yichen stood like a statue. Da. The old man walked over with light steps, as if he was taking a stroll in the park, relaxed and at ease. He walked to Yichen and smiled while taking a good look at the statue before him. Such a mysterious and ancient power is actually in the body of such a young man. It is truly strange and a waste. Why don't you let this old man obtain it? The swordsman extended his withered, long, and sharp claw-like hand and grabbed at Yi Chen's face. Judging victory and defeat so easily, aren't you the stupid one? Yi Chen's voice entered the swordsman's ears when the withered claw was 3 inches away from Yi Chen's face. No, that's impossible. The swordsman immediately retreated 9 meters because he felt a power that was enough to threaten his life brewing. Boom, boom, boom. Following that, the entire statue shattered instantly. Wild sand swirled and turned into the shape of a dragon, locking onto the swordsman. Sword stagnation. The swordsman performed an amazing divinity again and instantly stagnated the sword chi before him. He looked coldly at the unscathed Yi Chen with a look of disbelief. He was too confident in his sword Dao rule. Yi Chen must have been hit. According to the rule's effect, Yi Chen should not be able to move at this moment. He had turned into a sandman, so how could he still stand before him unscathed? He could not understand. Yi Chen had seen through his sword Dao, and the ancient god space had broken the rule. The sword of sand is exquisite indeed. Ever since the first time you turned this emperor's sword chi into quicksand and counterattacked, I've been analyzing the logic behind it. When you used the sword of sand to instantly kill this emperor, I've already seen through it. Impossible. I've cultivated the sword of sand for hundreds of years. How could you see through it in such a short time? You're bluffing. Whether you're bluffing or you have a card up your sleeve, you might as well prove it with practice. The swordsman was enraged, and his entire body was filled with killing intent. The flying sand gathered and formed a huge sword shape. It hung in the sky and spun, aiming at Yi Chen. I'll make you die without a burial place this time. Then, give me all of your power. The huge sword of sand slashed down from the sky and charged at Yi Chen. Facing the sword of sand that was 100 times more powerful than before, Yi Chen still stood with his arms behind his back. He did not feel nervous at all. I've told you. I've seen through your sword Dao. Yi Chen frowned. The sand around him flew up at the same time and turned into a huge sword of sand above his head. The sword of sand from both sides flew at the same time and charged at each other. Rumble. With a loud noise, the sword of sand exploded and turned into countless flying sand. In the sky and on the ground, the wind and clouds kept stirring. No. Seeing that his sword of sand had completely dissipated while there were still several sword of sand hovering around Yi Chen, the swordsman knew that he had completely lost. His sword Dao had failed. He knelt on the ground, his eyes lifeless. He looked at Yi Chen as if he was looking at a god. After cultivating for hundreds of years and comprehending such an exquisite sword Dao, he was seen through by Yi Chen in just a few moves. Who could accept such a contrast? Don't waste time. Where did the sword boat go? Yi Chen asked coldly. Ha, I can tell you, but I hope you won't get too excited. Suddenly, the swordsman revealed a strange smile. Although he had lost the sword Dao, he wanted to make the person before him suffer as well. The sword vessel you're looking for has already entered the last day's desert. Only there will you experience true despair and depravity. All those friends of mine will perish within it, whereas, if you enter it, then you'll definitely be obliterated. How about it? Are you satisfied with this outcome? Yi Chen's eyes turned cold. The swordsman was clearly taking revenge. What was the point of keeping such a sore loser? Since you're a cripple, give me your sword Dao. Roar. As the trembling roar shook, the origin of darkness appeared behind Yi Chen. The sacred ancient god power from before turned into violent, dark, and terrifying nether divine power, sweeping toward the swordsman. The swordsman revealed the most horrified expression. How could he have imagined such an outcome? Chapter 2193. The most terrifying, devouring dome pressed down like a ferocious beast between heaven and earth. The swordsman's legs turned to jelly. His profound foundation was so fragile before divine power. Sword of sand, not a bad ability. Get to me, then. You. The swordsman's face was filled with anger and fear. Under the devouring dome, his power was completely suppressed. Don't you dare treat me like this, sword of sand. In this desperate situation, The swordsman no longer had any scruples and released the ultimate sword of sand. On the surrounding desert ground, sand danced wildly and the wind and clouds changed. Countless sand swords were formed, all aimed at Yi Chun. Ha ha ha, a minor true immortal. In this great sand sword array, you are nothing. The swordsman laughed wildly. He thought he had the initiative. After all, this was his home ground. As long as he used the surrounding terrain well, he would be able to cultivate here for hundreds of years. How many sand sword principles were buried here? Now, they were all released, listening to the swordsman's command. The sand swords were revealed when the sand traveled 10,000 miles. Oh, you want to come back from the dead with such a formation? Facing the powerful sand sword formation, Yi Chun smiled coldly. He did not care about the opponent's home ground advantage. He did not act directly, but waited for the sand sword venerable to release the ultimate sand sword formation. In order to obtain the power of the sand sword formation, Yi Chun needed to analyze the structure of this power. Ha! Your underestimation is your biggest mistake. I will let you die in peace. So what if you have divine power? In my sword formation, even gods have to bow down. Come on. Facing the sand sword formation, Yi Chun sat cross-legged without any defensive posture. He had absolute confidence in the power of the Nether God. Under the devouring dome, any laws would collapse. Walking 10,000 miles in wild sand, traveling alone. Finally, the sand sword venerable released his ultimate attack. All the sand swords rose from the ground like sand peaks rushing into the sky. The power was so great that it could destroy heaven and earth. It was comparable to a god. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless sand swords attacked Yi Chun at the same time. The grandeur was unparalleled. Everything is in vain. In the eyes of the Nether God, there is only the purgatory gate. Yi Chun closed his eyes slightly. The eyes of the Nether God's shadow behind him glowed blood red. The demon's eye opened between his brows, and the devouring dome's power was guided to its peak. Hoo. The dark force that could devour everything was like countless phantoms, crazily attacking the ground below. These phantoms took on all kinds of terrifying forms and attached themselves to the sand sword. They were like maggots attached to the bone, gnawing away at the sand sword. Chi. All kinds of ghosts wailed and howled. Although the sand swords were powerful, under the influence of the Nether God's decaying laws, they all turned into sand and disappeared without a trace. No, impossible. This emperor has already said that your strength isn't worth mentioning, but your laws are interesting. Only in this emperor's hands can they shine brilliantly. Give up. The shadow of the underworld god waved his sharp claws, and the star-picking hand evolved into the star-picking hand of the underworld king. He attacked sword venerable violent sand from two directions. The star-picking hand of the underworld was combined with the devouring dome. No matter how strong sword venerable violent sand was, he could not resist such great power. His body gradually shrank and was directly crushed into sand, swallowed by the dome. The sand sword formation lost its master, and all the power flowed toward the dome. In an instant, the entire sand formation was absorbed by Yi Chun. After the sand sword formation disappeared, the range that Yi Chun could sense instantly expanded. However, he was still not sure where the Patriarch and the other sword boats were. This meant that what sword venerable violent sand said was not groundless. Damn it! Yi Chun shouted angrily. The sword energy traveled thousands of miles and crushed 1,000 mountains. Sand rush. After absorbing sword venerable violent sand's power of laws, Yi Chun was extremely talented. In addition to the ancient god space's support, Yi Chun could easily use the sand method and understand his own divine powers and secret techniques. In this vast desert, using the sand method was much more energy efficient than using other powers. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Casually walking on the sand, Yi Chun's perception spread out thousands of miles, continuing to search for the whereabouts of the Patriarch and the others. At the same time, at the border of the spirit realm and the netherworld, a tremendous energy impact constantly destroyed the surrounding landscape, causing the entire earth vein to collapse. Above the 9 heavens, countless alternate dimensions rotated. The two major space-time passages of the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world opened almost at the same time on both sides of the nine heavens. Boom, boom, boom. Following that, demonic energy and immortal energy swept across the entire area, colliding with each other and finally forming their respective spheres of influence. Ha! The primordial immortal world finally responded. Seeing this scene, the immortal berserker sword laughed maniacally, revealing a vigorous and domineering aura. He wanted to wash away the humiliation he had suffered and complete his revenge. On the demon martial world side, the flame chi demon lord was equally happy. With the demon martial world's passage opened, there would be an endless stream of demonic energy warriors rushing out. In terms of numbers, they would completely suppress any other forces in the spirit realm, including the primordial immortal world. Numbers had always been the demon clan's most glorious advantage. This time, it would only be crazier. Charging at the front was the Red Demon Clan's follow-up army. They knew that their demon lord had arrived in the spirit realm. This time, they were sent as the Flame Chi Demon Lord's reinforcements. Lord Demon Lord. The Red Demon Clan powerhouses shouted in the direction of the Flame Chi Demon Lord. Ha ha ha! The Flame Chi Demon Lord roared in response. The Red Demon Clan's army received the response and charged madly towards the Flame Chi Demon Lord's demon worship. Over at the primordial immortal world's time-space passage, Venerable Thundercloud, Venerable Fiery Dragon, and Venerable Lung Yu all descended. Of the three venerables, Venerable Thundercloud was the most familiar with the situation in the spirit realm. This was because he had already arrived in the spirit realm and had even been observing the Flame Chi Demon Lord's actions. Everyone, the demon martial world is invading on a large scale. The Red Demon Clan is the vanguard, and the Flame Chi Demon Lord intends to snatch the Spirit Accumulation Valley's power. Luckily, Immortal Berserker Sword arrived in time, and he did not succeed. We will definitely deal a heavy blow to the Red Demon Clan this time, Venerable Thundercloud said. Venerable Thundercloud is right. Since I have arrived, I will not let the Red Demon Clan retreat unscathed. At this time, a red-haired elder walked forward. Everyone looked over. It was Venerable Fiery Dragon. Venerable Fiery Dragon was at the peak of the Heaven Immortal Realm and still had the qualifications to ascend to the Heaven Realm. He just wanted to cultivate more in the Primordial Immortal Empire to increase his chances of success. He was an expert on par with Immortal Berserker Sword. So it's Venerable Fiery Dragon. With Venerable Fiery Dragon holding the fort, we will naturally be at ease. Yes, Venerable Fiery Dragon's Samadhi True Fire is one of the best in the Mystical Flames ranking. It is perfect to deal with the Red Demon Clan. We will follow Venerable Fiery Dragon and kill the Red Demons. All the powerhouses bowed in greeting. Venerable Fiery Dragon nodded slightly, revealing a proud smile. Chapter 2194. The sun shone brightly in the boundless desert. Yichen walked under the blazing sun. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly. Even the sand beneath his feet became scorching hot. Yichen's entire body was protected by immortal force, keeping his body temperature from rising too high. However, as he continued deeper into the desert, he felt that the heat laws here were completely different from before. It was extremely difficult to maintain one's body temperature here. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, a wave of heat surged like a tide from the distant sand peaks. It was so powerful that it seemed to burn the entire sky. Such a powerful attack made Yi Chun feel impatient. Along the way, Yi Chun had lost count of the number of such powerful heat waves. If he was an ordinary, perfected immortal, he would have already succumbed to the heat waves. However, these heat waves did not cause much harm to Yi Chun. They just seemed endless, which made Yi Chun furious. Stop me from advancing. No matter what is ahead, destroy. Vajra Oceanic Seal. Yi Chun raised his right hand high. Suddenly, the sky changed color. The temperature in the sky suddenly dropped. Endless water vapor condensed and turned into a downpour. Like a wave, it gathered in Yi Chun's hand. Go! With a command, the oceanic seal suddenly exploded. Like a dragon emerging from the sea, it turned into endless waves and rushed toward the sand peaks ahead. Boom, boom, boom. The powerful waves collided with a violent heat wave. The power of both sides clashed wildly, causing the ground to tremble and the sand peaks to shatter. The heat wave could not shake Yi Chen's ability. Then it was swallowed by the waves and turned into a part of them. 6 wave dragons rushed toward the source of the heat wave. Instantly, the ground exploded and lava erupted. Because Yi Chen continued to absorb water vapor, the surrounding space had dried up and the water vapor disappeared. Dragon Chi protection. Humans could not survive in such an environment. Yi Chen released Dragon Chi to protect himself. A white dragon drew the water vapor from before to surround Yi Chen, isolating him from the distortion of space and super high temperature. 10,000 miles through sand. Yi Chen activated the power of the sand again. Like a meteor, he flew past. Everywhere he passed, the space exploded. Countless sand peaks exploded and turned into dust, following behind Yi Chen. Yi Chen rode the water dragon and soared into the sky, looking at the sand for 10,000 miles. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chen had entered another space where the temperature had dropped significantly. Yi Chen withdrew his dragon chi and stepped on the sand. Yi Chen suddenly felt a sense of familiarity here. It was very strange. How can there be Buddhist chi in this desert? After all, Yi Chen was the successor of the heavenly spirit Buddha. Although the Buddha chi in this space was scattered and sparse, it was very standard. The energy density of a single Buddha chi was extremely high. Heavenly spirit Buddha I. Since there were remnants of Buddha chi here, Yi Chen activated his Buddha's eye to find the connection. Soon, he saw a golden existence in the Buddha's chi. Yi Chen frowned and looked into the distance. 9,000 miles away, a majestic Bodhi tree towered into the clouds like a pillar supporting the heavens. Such a tall Bodhi tree, it's definitely not an ordinary thing. Seeing the Bodhi tree, Yi Chen hurried forward. He wanted to go under the Bodhi tree and find out what was going on. The Bodhi tree constantly emitted golden light like a spiritual spring between heaven and earth, giving this dry and desolate place a glimmer of hope. Yi Chen hurried forward, but he felt that the distance between him and the Bodhi tree did not decrease at all. This situation was very strange. Could it be spatial power? Ancient gods? Yi Chen activated the ancient gods' eye and did not find any spatial formation in the surrounding space. At the same time, the space-time fury did not respond. It was obvious that this was not a formation, but something else. Yi Chen stopped and looked around. Instead of charging blindly, it was better to sense the power of laws in the surrounding space. Perhaps he could find some clues. He sat cross-legged in the air and closed his eyes in concentration. A breeze blew in the surrounding space, causing Yi Chen to feel his mind go into a trance. Following that, his primordial spirit was forcibly pulled into a different space. Who are you? Heavenly Emperor Yi Chen. Yi Chen suddenly opened his eyes. He felt a chill in his heart because he had automatically answered the other person's question earlier. This was not a good sign. It was clear that in this space, his self-defense had become extremely weak. He could clearly sense that his martial will had become much weaker. Moreover, this weakening was forceful and irreversible. It was as if it did not have much connection with his martial will's cultivation. Perhaps in this space, no matter how strong one's martial will was, one had to behave like this. What is this place? Yi Chen asked coldly. He suddenly raised his head and looked ahead. There was a crystal-clear, frozen moon Bodhi tree before him. It was completely different from what he remembered from the outside world. The golden leaves had become like ice crystals, reflecting cold light. On the Bodhi tree, there were some Bodhi fruits. They were colorful like bells. When Yi Chen saw those Bodhi fruits, his eyes became extremely dazed, as if his mind energy was being devoured. The asterisk imminent. With a furious roar, Yi Chen's body exploded with powerful immortal energy. It shook the surroundings and quickly swept through the entire Bodhi tree. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Just when the vibration was about to destroy the Bodhi tree, a crystal wall appeared in front of the Bodhi tree to resist Yi Chen's attack. Boom, boom, boom. The powerful shock wave bombarded the water wall. Apart from the vibration of the sound wave, it did not cause any damage. After taking Yi Chen's attack, the crystal wall was still like a mirror, shining brightly. Heavenly Spirit Buddha, 9 Skanda Buddha's sword. Since the opponent was the Bodhi tree, the symbol of Buddha, Yi Chen released the Heavenly Spirit Buddha's most powerful 9 Skanda force. He merged it into a Buddha sword and charged at the Bodhi tree. Its fate. The Bodhi tree opened its mouth and the water wall formed again. Clang! The Buddha sword's blade bombarded the water wall. The power of both sides continuously collided and eliminated each other. Finally, the Buddha sword was absorbed by the crystal wall, leaving no trace. Interesting. Yi Chen flew up and locked his eyes on the crystal wall before him. Then, let me see how tough you are. Buddha and demon unite. Kill. Yi Chen activated the Buddha and demon powers and merged them into the state of yin and yang, turning them into yin and yang twin blades. The Tai Chi sword seal appeared in front of him, vowing to break the crystal wall before him. Fake people, fake things, the moon in the water, it's all in vain. I don't care if you're a moon in the water or a moon in the water. In front of an emperor, I can only bow my head. The heavenly emperor's domineering might was activated. The universe shook, the sun and moon lost their color, and the two swords broke through the air to break the fate of Buddha. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The Bodhi tree reacted at the same time. The 7-colored Bodhi fruits in it vibrated, and waves of colorful light gathered on the crystal wall. It was extremely mysterious. The flawless chapters of The Genius Nanny in the City will continue to be updated in the new C Book Pavilion. There are no advertisements on the site. Please bookmark and recommend the new C Book Pavilion. If you like Evil Nanny Dad in the City, please collect. Evil Nanny Dad in the City's new books are updated the fastest in age. Chapter 2195. The yin and yang twin blades fought against the colorful crystal wall. Colorful lights flowed and stars fell. Kill. The twin blades mixed, and the power to destroy heaven and earth became even more dazzling in Yi Chen's hands. In the blink of an eye, the twin blades carried the power of Buddha and demon and bombarded the crystal wall. Immediately, the colorful light dissipated and the crystal cracked. Ha ha ha! Yi Chen laughed maniacally and the sword energy shot out again. It contained powerful darkness to support the devouring power. As long as the laws in the crystal wall appeared, they would be absorbed by the devouring power. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, the shattered crystal wall began to reform. The flashing light of law was the power of Bodhi. Venerable Bodhi, Dharma venerable. With a Buddhist chant, a Buddha appeared on top of the crystal Bodhi tree. You finally appeared. You can't hold it in anymore. Yi Chen, this is unwise. Venerable Bodhi, release my friend. Otherwise, I'll uproot this Bodhi tree. Aya. Venerable Bodhi's eyes emitted Buddhist light, and the Bodhi wheel behind him formed a triple calamity formation. Without joy and sorrow, heaven and earth shall cease to exist. Bodhi is so weak. I'll fulfill your wish. Yi Chen activated the power of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha, and his foundation instantly increased by 300 times. It was the ultimate 300 Dragon Fist. 300 Dragon Fist, kill. The ancient god body appeared behind him. The Grand Dragon Fist shook the world and stirred the wind and clouds. Everything was about to be annihilated in this endless stirring. It crushed, destroyed, an unstoppable, terrifying power. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the area within 1,000 miles around the Bodhi tree trembled. The mountains and rivers shattered, and the universe was reversed. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The terrifying power of the Dragon Fist completely shattered the Bodhi realm before him. The crystal Bodhi tree shattered one after another. What he saw was the golden Bodhi tree. Golden Bodhi, show yourself. Ha ha ha. On the Bodhi tree, a Buddha appeared and golden light opened the sky. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Endless light enveloped Yi Chen, and thousands of demons turned into ghosts. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Endless ghosts continued to block Yi Chen's path. Buddha and demon were just a thought. How could heaven and earth be different? Yi Chen looked at the disguised, venerable Bodhi without any emotional fluctuations. He had expected all these changes. He wanted the patriarch and the others' safety no matter who the opponent was. Heavenly Emperor Yi Chen, your friends have entered my destruction Bodhi realm. I don't think they can last more than 6 hours. Hearing that, Yi Chen's face revealed a dragon's rage. His domineering aura rushed toward Venerable Bodhi. ZZZ. However, as Venerable Bodhi waved his hand, the Bodhi tree behind him released boundless light, instantly extinguishing Yi Chen's domineering energy. Bodhi 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 Yi Tree and Yang Clan Bodhi and Bodhi. Bodhi Bodhi and Bodhi bought off Bodhi Tree. And Bodhi is a blade long of Bodhi and Bodhi and of Chun of Yang Yang of Dao of above. Venerable Bodhi smiled coldly. He was certain that Yi Chen would not abandon his friends. Although the person before him was courting death, now was not the time to be calculative. Yi Chen wanted to find the patriarch and the others, so he must ensure their safety. Of Dao, of Yi and Yang Chun a blade of. Ha ha ha, I knew you wouldn't refuse. Venerable Bodhi smiled proudly. Yi Chen's talent and strength surprised him. Letting Yi Chen enter the destruction Bodhi realm was a test. Yi Chen's friends had become bait. He formed a seal with his hands and transformed the dark Buddha energy. He instantly opened the destruction Bodhi realm. The entrance to this realm was on this Bodhi tree. Venerable Bodhi, no matter what your purpose is, you'll regret using me. Regret? That depends on your ability. The Bodhi realm was activated and Yi Chen flew into it. Seeing Yi Chen enter the destruction Bodhi realm, Venerable Bodhi smiled strangely. Yi Chen, you're the one I'm looking for to open the Bodhi realm in my place. I've cultivated here for 1,000 years and haven't been able to open it. I've almost died several times. You've passed the Crystal Bodhi Realms test. Let me see your true ability. Ha ha ha. As it turned out, the Bodhi realm wasn't a realm that Venerable Bodhi could freely control. Instead, it was a different world that he discovered in the Dharma-ending desert during his cultivation. Only those who were fated could enter it, break the door of the realm, and truly open the Bodhi realm. This was one of the most mysterious legends in the Buddha realm. Now, I wanted to prove its existence to the world. In the spirit-nurturing valley, immortals and demons descended together. The primordial immortal fiery dragon, Grim Moon, Thundercloud, and Berserker Sword had gathered to open the ultimate secret of the spirit-nurturing valley. Similarly, the demon Lord Qi Yin had led the entire Red Demon Clan and the demon martial world to confront them. Demon Lord Qi Yin, do you bear a grudge for making Yi Chen disappear right before your eyes? Sage Berserker Sword asked with a smile. Ha ha ha. Faced with Berserker Sword's mockery, the demon Lord Qi Yin only laughed loudly. Berserker Sword, not only did you let Yi Chen leave, but you even lost your treasure, the Heavenly Scroll fragment. You're still talking about it now? One idiot. You. Berserker Sword glared angrily at the demon Lord Qi Yin. He had not settled the score from before. Don't be rash. At this moment, the immortal fiery dragon stepped forward and stopped Berserker Sword. At this moment, Berserker Sword had not fully recovered from his injuries and needed to rest. Demon Lord Qi Yin, we're both immortals and demons. It's impossible to enjoy the spirit-nurturing valley alone. Moreover, I've heard that Yi Chen left with the Heavenly Spirit Buddha's 9 skanda power. Now, we need to find his whereabouts together. What do you think? Oh, immortal fiery dragon. Do you want to work with the demon lord? That's right, that's right. Ha ha. The demon Lord Qi Yin laughed loudly. He did not expect that a person from the primordial immortal world, who was conceited as a high-level tribe, would want to work with the demon clan. Such a thing had never happened in thousands of years. Why laugh? This is the best choice I can give you. What do you think? The immortal fiery dragon desperately wanted to show off his status. No problem. If we don't find Yi Chen, how do we split the 9 skanda power? Simple. Half and half. Very well, I agree. The demon Lord Qi Yin responded with a cold smile. However, both sides knew that things were not that simple. However, since this simple alliance had been formed, at least they would not have conflict for the time being. Fighter from the primordial immortal world, please show us your skills and track down that brat Yi Chun. Humph, of course. At this moment, the immortal thundercloud appeared, representing the primordial immortal world, to search for Yi Chen's whereabouts. Thundercloud's secret technique, time reversal. The immortal thundercloud tossed out a light disk that spun continuously in the sky. Following that, it projected a light screen. In this light screen, Yi Chen's previous actions appeared one after another. Chapter 2196. As the images before them flickered continuously, the disk guided these images directly into reality, forming a trajectory. It was very intricate. This primordial immortal world's secret technique is indeed mysterious. Why don't you lead the way? The Qi Yin Demon Master said. Of course, since they believed themselves to be the orthodox of the upper realm, the powerhouses of the primordial immortal world naturally had to walk in front. Open the way. The primordial immortal world's grand sword boat opened the way, following the ever-extending image path in space, following Yi Chen's footsteps. Not long after they left, a third grand space-time passage appeared above the spirit realm. The evil spirit army arrived. The evil lord stood on the ship, looking at the entire spirit realm mainland, and revealed a sinister smile. What a vast land. I didn't expect the spirit realm to have more development prospects than the underworld realm. Once we've scouted all the information, immediately inform the evil spirit origin and have all the evil spirits enter the spirit realm. Yes, everyone bowed, revealing excitement. The dwelling that the evil spirits had been searching for a long time was finally in front of them. With the departure of the underworld god, the situation of the underworld realm worsened and had already entered a state of collapse. The major tribes of the underworld realm began to descend into the spirit realm, including the powerful Flying Feather clan and other direct subordinates of the underworld god. They secretly entered the spirit realm through the passage that Yi Chun had opened with the underworld god, waiting for an opportunity. The arrival of the evil spirits was also within their expectations. This protracted war had extended from the underworld realm to the spirit realm. With the arrival of the advanced tribes, the other tribes and major sects of the spirit realm were in danger. Yi Chun entered the destroyed Bodhi realm. The first thing he saw was the same desert, and it was even the same as what he saw in the vast desert. This made Yi Chun very puzzled. Was this world built according to the vast desert? Then who was the one who built this world? It was definitely not Venerable Bodhi. Yi Chun was even very suspicious of this Venerable Bodhi's identity. The other party had tried everything to make him enter the destroyed Bodhi realm. What was his real purpose? It might just be a test. Venerable Bodhi, it seems like you haven't truly controlled this Bodhi realm. This is the reality of the vast desert. Yi Chun smirked. No matter what Venerable Bodhi's purpose was, he had achieved half of his goal. At least he had the conditions to find the patriarch and the others. Ancestor, Wu Shuang, you have to hold on. Although there was no killing intent in the vast expanse before him, Yi Chun could sense that someone was watching him. This person was most likely Venerable Master Bodhi. If Venerable Master Bodhi could not unlock the true essence of this world, then Yi Chun would do it himself. After absorbing the 9 skanda power, Yi Chun had a natural sense of Buddhist power. Relying on this sense, he headed in a certain direction. In this world, the vast desert seemed to be even larger than before. Soon, Yi Chun went through the many hardships that he had experienced before. Relying on his previous experience, Yi Chun quickly got through them. Bodhi tree. He narrowed his eyes. 1,000 miles away was the Bodhi tree. Go! Yi Chun stepped on the flying sand and hurried toward the Bodhi tree. He wanted to see if there was another Venerable Bodhi there. If that was true, things would become extremely complicated. This time, he arrived at the Bodhi tree very quickly. However, there were no spatial distortions like before. Supreme Bodhi, show yourself. Yi Chun let out a furious roar. The powerful sound of thunder shook the entire Bodhi tree. Countless Bodhi fruits began to shake, and the entire tree was about to collapse. However, there was no sign of Supreme Bodhi here. In the outside world, Supreme Bodhi looked at the scene on the light screen coldly. It was Yi Chun coming under the Bodhi tree. "Ah, kid, stop shouting. If Supreme Bodhi really appears, how much trouble will I save?" It turned out that this person's real target was Supreme Bodhi. "Supreme Bodhi, let this kid play with you. I'll reap the benefits." Within the light screen, the Destruction Bodhi realm was destroyed. Yichin shouted several times, but there was no response. "Be asterisk starred. Do you want to waste my time?" Yichin pointed his sword at the sky and sensed Yi Wushuang's energy. However, there was no such energy within 10,000 miles. Did Supreme Bodhi in the outside world deceive him? Yichin's brows furrowed. He looked at the sky and said angrily, "Supreme Bodhi, if you dare deceive me, I'll make you die in the most painful way possible." "Ha ha!" Suddenly, Supreme Bodhi's face appeared in the sky. "Yichun, I won't lie to you. Those friends of yours have entered the Destruction Bodhi realm. If you can find the real Supreme Bodhi, I'll help you free them." I knew it. Yichun finally understood that this person was not Supreme Bodhi, but someone impersonating him. No matter what this person's true identity was, he was looking for the real Supreme Bodhi. Moreover, if you want to find your friends, you'll have to find Supreme Bodhi because this world was created by Supreme Bodhi. Scram! Yichun waved his finger. Instantly, a powerful sword chi shot into the sky, and the person's face was shattered. "Ha, this is the only choice. Being angry is useless." Listening to the person's sinister laughter, Yichun was not too affected. He basically understood the situation he was in. Looking at the Bodhi tree before him, Yichun sat cross-legged in the air. He hoped that he could communicate with the Bodhi tree using his mind energy like in the outside world. Heavenly Spirit Technique. Using the technique inherited by Supreme Heavenly Spirit Buddha and using the 9 Skanda Buddha's power to contact the Bodhi tree was the best method Yichun could think of. As expected, the 9 Skanda Buddha's power did not disappoint and formed a connection with the Bodhi tree. Destin 1. Suddenly, a Buddhist voice came from the sky. Following that, the Bodhi tree emitted a golden light, and Yichun was absorbed into it. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. In the process of teleportation, Yichun wanted to open his eyes, but Zhou Weiqing's space-time was chaotic. Light flashed everywhere, and he could not open his eyes. He relied on his sensing ability to sense the changes in his surroundings and found that he was in the most chaotic space-time passage. At this time, he could not use his energy or move around. Otherwise, once he fell into the space-time turbulence, he would die. Patriarch Wu Shuang, it seems like you've also passed this test. After about half an hour, Yichun was thrown into the sky. Sensing the changes in his surroundings, Yichun landed. Relying on his strong foundation, it was easy to find balance. Yichun opened his eyes and looked around. He found that what was reflected in front of him was a supreme mountain that looked like a heavenly pillar. The shape of this mountain was a Buddhist statue. Moonlight's mirror, Bodhi realm. He saw that the huge Buddha statue was engraved with the word Buddha that was as tall as a mountain. It was the name of this realm. Chapter 2197. Outside the last day's desert, the armies of the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world had arrived. Following venerable thunderclouds tracking formation, Yichun's final figure had entered the vast desert territory. Everyone, Yichun has entered this territory. It seems to contain powerful Buddhist power. Venerable Thundercloud said to the experts, "Buddhist power? Rumor has it that the Buddha realm is an otherworldly force. No one knows where their base is." Venerable Thundercloud, does your primordial immortal world not know? The Flame Chi Demon Lord asked. No one knows what the Buddha realm is. There are even legends that the Buddha realm can contend with the heavenly realm. Even your demon martial world doesn't know about such a mysterious existence. How would we know? Ah, that's right. The Flame Chi Demon Lord only laughed coldly, then looked at the surrounding territory. When he opened his demonic eye, all he saw was an endless desert. Furthermore, There were countless spatial formations within the desert. It would not be easy to enter them. Naturally, the Flame Chi Demon Lord did not want to waste his energy. He had already sent a message to the demon martial world. When the army arrived, it was expected that the primordial immortal world would be wiped out. Therefore, he needed to exhaust the strength of the primordial immortal world's 4 perfected masters, so that they could deal with the predicament. Venerable Fiery Dragon, there seems to be a formation forming in the 10,000 li of sand ahead. I see that it's not that simple. Flame Chi Demon Lord, such a small matter can make the great demon master of the demon martial world so cautious. Why not let Venerable Thundercloud show you? Venerable Fiery Dragon still wanted to expand the primordial immortal world's influence. He gave Venerable Thundercloud a look, and the latter nodded slightly. Naturally, he would not give up this opportunity. After all, he was a formation master. Venerable Thundercloud walked forward. At a glance, the spatial formation in the 10,000 li of sand was revealed. Humph! Formation breaking instrument. He tossed a powerful magic tool into the sky. Following that, the magic tool glowed, revealing the structure of the formation below. Then, Venerable Thundercloud flew up to the sky, drawing upon the power of the thunderclouds to hover above the formation. Thundercloud shattering darkness. Venerable Thundercloud released his Thundercloud immortal power. Lightning chains shook the heavens and the earth. Streaks of lightning swords rushed down. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The might of the lightning swords soared into the 9 heavens, and a mystical power extended in an instant, shattering the earth. Under Thundercloud's attack, the spatial formation below was shattered. Ha ha ha! Reverend Lei Yin laughed heartily as he descended from the 9 heavens. He seemed to have broken the array formation in front of him without much effort. Chi Yin, Demon Lord. How's Sage Lei Yun's method of breaking the array? Sage Fiery Dragon asked with a smile. Amazing, amazing. The Chi Yin Demon Lord replied coldly. He didn't expect Sage Thundercloud to have some skills, to be able to break through the array formation in such a short time. Forward! The Fire Dragon Venerable gave the order, and the primordial immortal empire's warship headed into the sandstorm. The demon warship behind followed. Junior brother Lei Yun, the Chi Yin Devil Master, must have sent a signal to the Devil and Martial Empire. We can't just sit here and wait for our deaths. You have to send a message back to the primordial immortal empire. Venerable Fire Dragon used his immortal energy to send a message. Senior brother Fire Dragon, don't worry. I've already done it. Very good. Now that Venerable Fiery Dragon had nothing to worry about, he started a search for the 9 accumulations. At this moment, the 2 grand battleships had already entered the core area of the Last Days desert, and it naturally drew the attention of fake Exalt Bodhi. Damn it, why are there people from the Demon Martial Empire and the Primordial Immortal Empire here? Fake Exalt Bodhi opened his eyes and immediately sensed the traces of the demon warships and immortal warships. The Demon Martial Empire and the Primordial Immortal Empire have arrived. It seems like the spirit realm is going to be turned upside down. In that case, it's time for me to find reinforcements. As he spoke, fake Exalt Bodhi sat cross-legged in the void. His sword fingers condensed chi, and he formed various seals. These seals released boundless evil energy, and the majestic might was not inferior to the evil overlord. Hiss, hiss, hiss. These evil energies quickly permeated the entire desert, and then transmitted into the foreign land. Rumble. Under the crushing force of the powerful demon and immortal energies, the spatial array in the Last Days desert shattered. Soon, the combatants from the immortal and demon world arrived at the place where Yi Chun had passed by. According to the tracking map, everyone can see that Yi Chun has entered this boundary, and there's a Bodhi tree ahead, Sage Thundercloud said. Interesting. Interesting. What is Yi Chun looking for here? The Chi Yin Demon Master laughed. I think there must be something mysterious about the Bodhi tree. Why not take a look? With that, Sage Fiery Dragon flew up and headed straight for the Bodhi tree. The Chi Yin Demon Lord did not want to be left behind. He also flew up and rushed toward the Bodhi tree, and the others followed behind. The golden Bodhi tree was still as bright as ever. It had sensed the arrival of the crowd, but there were no changes. At this moment, fake Exalt Bodhi was naturally hidden in this barrier. Sage Fiery Dragon and the Chi and Demon Lord locked onto the Bodhi tree, trying to find clues. However, their Buddhist cultivation base was not profound, so they could not see anything unusual. However, the Bodhi tree before them seemed to have no flaws. It was a seamless whole, which surprised them. The crowd had already arrived, standing behind the Chi and Demon Lord and Sage Fiery Dragon. Senior Brother Fiery Dragon, did you see anything? Sage Thundercloud stepped forward and asked. Although this Bodhi tree is strange, there doesn't seem to be anything unusual. What's going on? Senior Brother Fiery Dragon, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this artifact of mine. Yi Chen's whereabouts must be related to this Bodhi tree. It's just that after Yi Chen entered the boundary of the Bodhi tree, he disappeared. It's obvious that there's a man-made array here. Sage Fiery Dragon nodded slightly. Flames rose from his body and shot toward the Bodhi tree. The Chi and Demon Lord did not expect Sage Fiery Dragon to be so impulsive. He was somewhat displeased because this Bodhi tree might have some secrets. If Sage Fiery Dragon burned it, it would be bad. However, the flames had been released, so there was no way to stop it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The power of the flames swept over 100 miles, burning wildly. Powerful immortal energy surrounded the Bodhi tree, but the tree did not show any signs of decay. It was clear that the flames were not unbearable to it. How is this possible? Sage Fiery Dragon was very displeased. If his immortal energy could not even burn a tree, it would be too embarrassing. Ha ha ha, Sage Fire Dragon. I think this Bodhi tree is not simple. The Chi and Demon Lord said with a smile. Humph, then let's see how powerful you are, Sage Fiery Dragon retorted, throwing the question to the Demon Lord. The Chi and Demon Lord had wanted to test the Bodhi tree's strength. Since the other party threw the question, he naturally had to do it. Then I'll do it. His eyes turned cold and demonic flames erupted from his body. He walked toward the Bodhi tree step by step. Chapter 2198. The invasion of the demonic martial world and the primordial world made fake Venerable Bodhi feel like he was sitting on pins and needles. Initially, he wanted to rely on Yi Chun to find Venerable Bodhi and obtain the power of Buddha. Now, not only did he not obtain true energy, but he had also attracted combatants from both worlds. Yi Chun, that brat. These people must have come after him. Fake Venerable Bodhi had already realized why these people had come here. It was because Yi Chun had the 9 skanda power of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha. This was a treasure in itself. Unless they were looking for Yi Chun, no one would come to this extremely remote last days desert. These people had ruined his plan. He could only hope that Yi Chun could move quickly in the Mirage Land. He turned on the light screen and looked into the Mirage Land. At this moment, Yi Chun had already entered the town's Bodhi realm. Inside the Bodhi realm, Yi Chun could sense many powerful Buddhist powers surrounding it. The strength of these Buddhist powers was definitely not below the Heavenly Spirit Buddha. This environment made Yi Chun realize that there must be a Buddha realm master in this Bodhi realm. Yi Chun sat cross-legged in the air, trying to search for his memories when he was a heavenly emperor to obtain information about the Buddha realm. However, no matter how hard he tried, he could find very few clues. Among these clues, there were even fewer that could truly bring information about the Buddha realm. This meant that even when Yi Chun was a heavenly emperor, he did not obtain much information about the Buddha realm. The Buddha realm is a mysterious existence indeed. Since there's no more information, let me see what kind of deity exists in this Bodhi realm. Yi Chun released the power of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha, trying to merge with the surrounding aura, but failed. Although the strength of the aura here was similar to that of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha, the Buddha's power here was higher than that of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha. This surprised Yi Chun. After all, this was just the aura of an environment. If there was a Buddha cultivating here, his current cultivation base would be unimaginable. No matter who the expert is, I'll bring my friend back. Yi Chun activated the Buddha Supreme form and continued forward. Inside the Bodhi realm, the environment was very beautiful. The first thing Yichen saw was a vast pond. There were countless golden lotuses growing in it. Almsgiver, wait. Suddenly, a voice was heard. Yichen lifted his head slightly. There was a pavilion in front of him, and a Buddhist was sweeping the floor in the pavilion. When Yichen saw this person, he walked forward. He saw that this person was wearing a simple Buddhist robe, and there was nothing unusual about his sweeping movements. He looked like an ordinary person. However, Yichen understood that someone who could appear in this mirror image was definitely not an ordinary person. Master, this emperor is looking for a sword boat. Have you seen it? Yichen asked. Rather than looking for a sword boat, it's better to look for a Buddhist boat. Buddha boat? Ha! Master, I don't have time to play riddles with you. Did you see it? Yichen responded coldly. As time went by, the patriarch and the rest were in greater danger inside this strange barrier. Benefactor, your heart is too anxious. I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to achieve what you want. Yichen's eyes were slightly cold. If it were any other time, he might ask this person to teach him Buddhism. However, now is not the time. In the Bodhi realm, the most important thing is the Buddha heart. With the Buddha heart, everything will come true. Without the Buddha heart, it will be difficult to take a single step forward. I'd like to see if this emperor can't take a single step forward in this Bodhi realm. Yichen pointed with his sword finger. Immediately, thunder rumbled in all directions, and dark clouds covered 10,000 li. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The thunder god Dharma form broke through the clear sky, and endless sword chi rushed toward the sweeping monk. Aya, you don't have the Buddha heart. What a pity, what a pity. However, after several what a pity, the sweeping monk flew up. His figure was incomparably light. With a shift of his feet, he nimbly dodged the thunder god's sword chi and then stood on the pavilion. Benefactor, why don't you hold back your murderous aura for now and learn Buddhism from this little monk? Buddhism? Is that it? Suddenly, Yichen released the 9 skanda power. Instantly, the thunder god Dharma form's power increased 100 times. The power of the sword chi instantly destroyed the pavilion before him. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding space exploded rapidly, and countless golden lotuses fell into a sea of fire. Yichen was not interested in the so-called Buddhism. Saving people was more important now. He did not have time to tangle with the person before him. He could only act swiftly and decisively. However, in this Bodhi realm, the sweeping monk was like a spring breeze. With the support of Buddhism, ordinary abilities could not break through it. Naturally, Yichen realized this. The Thunder God's sword chi earlier was just a test. He wanted to figure out the strength of the person before him. Since you have the power of the heavenly spirit Buddha, you shouldn't be my enemy. No matter who you are, tell me the answer I want immediately. Otherwise, I'll dye your Bodhi realm with blood and shatter the universe. Ha ha, benefactor, you're exaggerating. Is that so? It was obvious that the little monk before him would not tell him the answer so easily. Since that was the case, Yichen would not hold back anymore. Since it's mirage, then let my divine telekinesis see through it. Yichen closed his eyes. Immediately, the immortal slaying flying dagger flew out rapidly. Master, I'm coming. Very good. Astral telekinesis, unity of man and nature. Yichen's psyche erupted instantly. The immortal slaying flying dagger shone with a bloody glow. The countless souls that he had killed earlier erupted with endless resentment and entangled the sweeping monk. Since you want to redeem people, why don't you redeem these souls first? Benefactor, your murderous aura is too strong. I'm afraid it'll be difficult to move an inch in the Bodhi realm. Ha ha ha, kill. Yichen laughed maniacally. He used astral telekinesis to control the dagger, and the immortal slaying flying dagger released its immortal slaying might. As Yichen's cultivation base increased, and he was replenished with various natural treasures, the immortal slaying flying dagger's strength had soared. At this moment, killing a mystic immortal was not a problem. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The immortal slaying flying dagger instantly split into 3. 3 flying daggers attacked at the same time, sealing off all the sweeping monk's escape routes. Amitabha. With a Buddhist incantation, the sweeping monk threw out the Buddha beads wrapped around his wrist. Immediately, the Buddha beads split into three, turning into 3 rings of Buddha beads that charged toward the 3 immortal-slaying flying daggers. Clang, clang, clang. Both sides fought rapidly in midair, colliding with each other. Countless shockwaves blasted in all directions. The entire Golden Lotus Pond was like a raging sea, destroying everything in all directions. The terrifying scene was like doomsday. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Finally, the 3 immortal-slaying flying daggers were entangled by the Buddha bead rings at the same time, unable to move. Benefactor, repent before it's too late. Aha! I can only move forward. There's no way back. Yichen opened the Buddha's eye between his brows again. He immediately saw the exquisite Buddhist power of laws surrounding the sweeping monk. This was the source of his power. A little monk transformed from a body of laws. How dare you be so presumptuous before an emperor? After seeing through this person's identity, Yichen's divine consciousness moved. Immediately, the immortal-slaying flying dagger released supreme psyche power and exploded all the entangled Buddha beads. Chapter 2199. You can actually see through my Dharma body. That's impossible. Die. After the monk's Dharma body was seen through, the hostility in the city increased greatly. He was no longer as kind as before. It could be seen that the so-called Buddha still did not understand greed, anger, and delusion. However, such a scene was within Yi Chen's expectations. Ha ha! Seeing through your Dharma body is just the beginning. I'll absorb your Dharma. How dare you? The monk's brows trembled in anger. The flaming saber was released wildly, turning into countless saber gleams that charged at Yichen. Moon's reflection. What? Hearing what Yichen said, the monk was shocked. Moon's reflection was the highest mental cultivation method of the Bodhi realm. What did Yichen mean by shouting this? At that moment, the water around Yichen rippled and his reflections appeared one after another. A series of Buddha realm laws appeared one after another, and these formations instantly condensed into a formation. The flame saber that the sweeping monk had unleashed turned into nothingness when it hit the water surface. It reflected into the mirage mirror and disappeared without a trace. Impossible. How did you know what Moon's reflection is in such a short period of time? This is the mystery that I've cultivated here for thousands of years. Little monk, although you've cultivated for a long time, your comprehension is not good enough. Your hostility is too strong. Even if you cultivate for thousands of years, you won't be able to comprehend the mystery. This is the difference between you and this place. The asterisk eminent. Hearing this, the monk went berserk. He would never admit that someone's talent was above his. He just had not found the method, or he would have comprehended the Tao immediately. He thought that he was the strongest and the person who should be allowed by the Buddha realm. I am the only one in the Buddha realm. The monk released a powerful Buddhist mental cultivation method. The power of the moon's reflection surged into the sky and finally condensed above the monk's head. I want you to understand your sins. Yichen, you'll die here. Those who can't comprehend the Tao are truly pitiful. With a sigh, Yichen's eyes turned cold as he faced the Buddha realm. He released the heavenly spirit Buddha power from his body. Immediately, the shadow of the heavenly spirit Buddha appeared behind Yichen. The 9 accumulations power and the 18 spirit pearls appeared one after another. This is the heavenly spirit Buddha's spiritual accumulation law. How did you learn it? Could it be that you are his successor? I'll let you die in peace. This emperor has inherited the heavenly spirit Buddha's legacy. Ha ha! The heavenly spirit Buddha is just a cultivator at the bottom of the Buddha realm. His talent is mediocre and he can't become a Buddha. In the end, he wanted to rely on celestial cultivation to break through his own limitations and ascend to the heavenly realm in search of the great Tao. However, he failed in the end, and the spiritual accumulation method is just a fabrication. Whether it's fake or not, we'll know once we test it. Yichen smiled lightly in the face of the sweeping monk's provocation. He combined the 9 skunda power with the 18 spirit orbs. However, the wind and clouds in the sky surged, and the environment changed drastically. The 18 spirit pearls continuously released the power of the yin-yang wheel, turning the entire space into a wheel world. For the first time, the sweeping monk showed a serious expression. Although he despised the heavenly spirit Buddha, the heavenly spirit Buddha was someone who had cultivated in the Buddha realm. In essence, the heavenly spirit Buddha's perception was above his. Because he couldn't comprehend the mirror flower realm, he couldn't get the guidance of the Bodhisattva and couldn't enter the Buddha realm. Since the inheritor of the heavenly spirit Buddha was right in front of him, if he could defeat this person, wouldn't he be able to obtain the inheritance of the heavenly spirit Buddha? Entering the Buddha realm wouldn't be a dream anymore. Ha ha ha, Yichen, everything you have today belongs to me. Before I find a real venerable Bodhi, you're just a stepping stone for me. You still want to show off? Yichen held the heavenly emperor sword and activated the mirror flower realm. The 18 spirit orbs and the 9 skunda power bloomed one after another. Such a grand scene instantly suppressed the sweeping monk. In the Kiliakosm, I'm the Buddha. The sweeping monk released the ultimate Buddha power, and the Guanyin Dharma form appeared behind him. He held various magic tools and threw them at Yichen. Buzz, buzz, buzz. These magic tools all contained powerful Buddhist power laws, but in essence, they contained powerful evil energy. This was the reason why the sweeping monk couldn't become a Buddha. Yichen saw through the sweeping monk's nature at a glance. No matter how powerful the Buddhist power was, he would still be trapped in his own slaughtering world. This person was not a sweeping monk, but an executioner. However, Yichen's figure slowly floated into the air. The surrounding mirror flower realm gathered toward his body and finally gathered in the top of his head. The boundless and clear Buddhist power truly appeared in Yichen's body. Enlightenment was Bodhi, and Bodhi was enlightenment. Those with high comprehension could see through it at a glance, but those with insufficient comprehension were hard to come by. In just an instant, one could see the difference between the sweeping monk and Yichen. Even if he swept the floor and cultivated for a long time, he would not have the ability to see through the mirror Bodhi. Dragon Tree Bodhi, 9 Dragon Palm. The 18 spirit orbs absorbed the Buddhist power and immediately shone brightly. Subsequently, Yichen launched a palm. Bodhi body, boundless water and moon, and infinite Buddhist power. Rumble. The grand palm print was divided into 9 dragon-shaped palm prints and charged at the sweeping monk. Kill. The sweeping monk launched his ultimate attack at the same time, 1000 blood palm. The 9 dragon power carried the boundless Buddhist power and instantly entangled the blood-colored palm print. The 9 dragons circled, and the Buddhist power cleansed the sins. The sweeping monk's blood-colored palm print exploded in the air. Boom, boom, boom. The blood-colored palm print turned into countless fragments and floated in the sky. Squeak, squeak, squeak. In the blink of an eye, those blood-colored fragments turned into all kinds of resentful spirits and rushed at the sweeping monk. Give me back my life. Give me back my life. The countless resentful spirits were the lives the sweeping monk had killed. They were released by Yichen's 9 dragon palm, all of them demanding the sweeping monk's life. The sweeping monk's foundation had been destroyed by Yichen's 9 dragon palm. How could he fight these resentful spirits now? They rushed forward and devoured the sweeping monk's primordial spirit, causing him unbearable pain. No, no, no. The sweeping monk finally paid the price for his sins and desires. Yichen shouted coldly. He extended his hand and absorbed the sweeping monk's Buddhist power. As Yichen absorbed the Buddhist power continuously, the sweeping monk became completely crippled. Moreover, he went insane and suffered for the rest of his life. This will be your judgment. After saying that, Yichen strode forward and continued to look for Bodhi Bodhi. Outside the Bodhi realm, under the golden Bodhi tree, the Qi and Demon Lord and the Fire Dragon Sage looked at the Bodhi tree at the same time. The Qi and Demon Lord smiled. Fire Dragon Sage, what do you think? This Bodhi tree is the entrance to the barrier. This place is not simple. As expected of a wise man, we should enter the barrier. Yichen must be inside. The fire dragon sage looked at the golden Bodhi tree coldly. He was still hesitant. After all, in the Dharma-ending desert, all sorts of things had become extremely complicated and mysterious. No one knew what realm was inside the Bodhi tree. Once one fell into it, one would be in great danger. Chapter 2200. I heard that the 9 skanda power is necessary to open the Buddha realm. Venerable fiery dragon, don't you want it? Seeing that the venerable fiery dragon was still hesitating, the flame Chi demon lord stepped forward. Really? The venerable fiery dragon had never heard of such information. He was thinking that perhaps the flame Chi demon lord had special channels to know. The flame Chi demon lord looked at the venerable fiery dragon with interest and continued, "Of course, as long as we capture Yichen and obtain the 9 skanda power, I'll represent the demon martial world and cooperate with the primordial immortal world to open the Buddha realm." The Buddha realm is a mysterious Buddha realm from before the epoch. Rumor has it that there are countless treasures hidden there that ordinary people can't imagine. Venerable fiery dragon, don't you want to try this opportunity? Ha ha ha. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Since this Bodhi tree is so amazing, of course I'll keep you company. Very well, we'll open the barrier of the Bodhi tree. After you. The two came forward together and released their demonic immortal energy. Instantly, the Bodhi tree was impacted by the powerful energy. The Bodhi fruits on the tree flickered with spiritual light. The sky distorted and the door opened. This scene shocked the fake venerable Bodhi who was hiding in the dark. He did not expect the flame Chi demon lord to know more than him. If these people obtained the power to open the Buddha realm, his efforts would be wasted. He must call for reinforcements as soon as possible. Thinking of this, he released the evil energy information again. This time, the method was more powerful than before. This was a blood sacrifice method that only the evil spirit royalty could use. Once the information was sent, the evil spirit royalty would receive it instantly, no matter how far away they were. In the sky above the spirit realm, at the evil spirit space-time tunnel, the evil venerable lord was meditating. Instantly, a beam of evil light entered his brow. Ha ha! Evil venerable lord, you didn't let us down indeed. You've obtained such important information. You've done a great service. Thank you for your praise, evil venerable lord. The primordial immortal world and the demon martial world have opened the Bodhi door. We must come as soon as possible. Don't worry. After the two communicated mentally, the huge evil warship continued to change direction and headed toward the last day's desert. The 3 great dark organizations gathered in the last day's desert at the same time. Yi Chun, the patriarch, and the others were in an even greater crisis. In the Bodhi realm, Yi Chun successfully browsed through the mirror reflection. He obtained more exquisite Buddhist Dharma, and his strength increased again. In the Bodhi realm, there's a lot of Buddhist power interacting with the 9 skandhas in my body. Is this a coincidence? During the battle with the sweeping monk, Yi Chun was able to absorb the power of mirage around him. This was not natural. It was the result of the heavenly spirit Buddha's 9 skandha. However, Yi Chun was able to adapt to the situation. His talent was amazing, so he made good use of it. This was definitely no coincidence. With that, Yi Chun began to treat the 9 skandha power in his body seriously. He hoped that he could rely on this power to find the patriarch and the rest as soon as possible. In the Bodhi realm, Yi Chun released his spiritual energy many times in an attempt to contact Yi Wushuang, but he failed every time. Yi Chun's patience was wearing thin. "Wushuang, ancestor, where are you?" Yi Chun stepped on the golden lotus and ascended into the clouds above the moon's reflection. This sea of clouds was ethereal and uncertain, but the Buddha power within it did not diminish. Instead, it increased and was even more powerful than the Buddha power below. Slowly walking forward, Zhang Xian discovered that the clouds in front of him were surging and the sun and moon were rising together. What does this strange realm symbolize? Yi Chun was puzzled when he saw this phenomenon. You have the power of the 9 skandha. What do you want? Suddenly, a grand sound of thunder bloomed above the sky and charged at Yi Chun. Just the sound alone made Yi Chun's ears hurt, and he felt annoyed. Why do you need to say more? The heavenly emperor was furious, and the 8 sounds echoed. Boom, boom, boom. The 8 heavenly dragon sounds turned into 8 true dragons and charged into the clouds. Thunder rumbled. Above the 9 heavens, the clouds surged endlessly and transformed into the form of a Buddha. Don't be presumptuous in the Western Buddha realm. Above the clouds, a powerful seal of stars was released. It was like the 5-element mountain that fell from the sky, covering Yi Chun. Ha ha ha! His laughter filled the sky, and his spirit was eternal. 9 Thunder God Avatar appeared behind Yi Chun again. He condensed the 18 rolling thunder palms and the image of a Buddha. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The 18 rolling thunder palms struck the 5-element palm at the same time. The power of both sides collided and destroyed each other. They could not hold themselves back and turned into smoke. Such domineering power. Don't even think about entering the Buddha realm. I don't want to enter the Buddha realm. Release my friend immediately. Otherwise, I'll kill my way into the Buddha realm and kill tens of thousands of Buddhas. Arrogant. The Buddha in the sky struck again. The power was stronger than before. Such a foundation already had the power of a peak mystic immortal. Facing such power, Yi Chun had nothing to fear. 9 transformations of the true spirit. Primordial demon ape. Roar. Yi Chun turned into the primordial demon ape. He was 3,000 feet tall and rose from the ground. He beat his chest with his arms, unable to restrain his anger. Die! The demon ape roared and punched endlessly. It flew above the 9 heavens and charged at the Buddha in the sky. Azura, heaven-shaking kill. The primordial demon ape released its divine power. The source of darkness merged into boundless evil energy and soared into the sky. Hundreds of fist rays bombarded the area. Boom, boom, boom. The most terrifying suppression power, the most violent heaven-shaking kill. So what if you're a peak mystic immortal? Get down. Ow, how is this possible? The Buddha statue in the sky let out a cry of disbelief. Then, the top of its head began to crack, and its entire body turned into clouds. Yi Chun returned to his original form and continued forward. At the same time, the powerhouses of the devil martial world and the primordial immortal world entered the Bodhi realm to look for Yi Chun. Behind them, the evil undead lord arrived with a group of evil beings. Evil Lord Tianqi. Ha ha ha. Hearing the voice of the evil lord, evil Lord Tianqi appeared from the 9 heavens. It's been 1,000 years. How have you been? Ha ha. Evil Lord Tianho, you've done a great service this time. As long as you're able to find the entrance to the Buddha realm and enter it to seize the treasures, the rise of my evil spirit lineage will not be far. Exactly. However, the demon martial empire and the primordial immortal empire have discovered this Bodhi realm at the same time. I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with them. Don't worry, our evil spirit army is indestructible. I have already informed the source of the evil spirits. We just need to move forward. All right. The 2 of them hit it off and led the army into the Bodhi realm. In Bodhi realm, the 3 dark organizations descended at the same time. It immediately caused the barrier to change, affecting Yi Chun, who was above the 9 heavens. Boom! The barrier kept shaking as if it was giving out a warning. Yi Chun looked down at the Bodhi realm and found that outside the Bodhi realm, the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world's army had arrived. These be asterisk stars, they all came in. It looks like the fake Bodhi Venerable didn't make a move. Thinking of this, Yi Chun wanted to find the patriarch and the others even more. He sped up, hoping to open the Bodhi door in advance. Chapter 22:01. After searching many times, Yi Chun did not find the whereabouts of the patriarch and the others in this cloud layer. He was rather anxious. Finally, he came to a chaotic land. Here, the clouds contained pure Buddhist power like the source of Buddhist power between heaven and earth. This forced Yi Chun to stop. The long time wasted caused the people from the 3 dark forces to arrive one after another. They had walked through the places that Yi Chun had passed. As Yi Chun had cleared all the obstacles, their speed would only be faster. Yi Chun sat cross-legged in the void on the chaotic Buddha platform. After cultivating for a long time and meditating for many days, he still could not see through the true meaning of the Buddha platform before him. What are you waiting for? Am I not qualified to enter the Buddha realm? He was very confused. If the patriarch and the others could enter the Buddha realm, as the original heavenly emperor, why could he not find the Bodhi door? He could not understand. His thoughts fell into a self-entanglement. This made Yi Chun's Buddhist power cultivation stagnate, and he could not improve. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, thunder roared and lightning flashed. Strange phenomena appeared in the sky again. Yi Chun raised his head slightly and looked at the sky. He noticed several Buddha realm messengers. Yi Chun, who is it? Yi Chun looked at the clouds in the sky coldly and found 3 extraditing venerable ones standing there. You have the power of the heavenly spirit Buddha. You're the best candidate to open the Bodhi door. The demonic martial world, the primordial spirit world, and the evil spirit world have come to the Bodhi realm. They're all coming for the Buddha realm. So what? Where are my friends? Don't worry. Open the Bodhi realm and you'll see your friends. However, if you can't pass this test, none of you can enter the Buddha realm. With that, the 3 venerable ones waved their hands and the clouds below dissipated. What appeared before Yi Chun was a towering mountain that shot into the sky. This is Cloud Valley Thunder Peak. Hearing this name, Yi Chun's mind rumbled and his consciousness was in chaos. Memory fragments belonging to the heavenly emperor began to appear. Countless thunderous Buddhist words bombarded Yi Chun's mind continuously, shocking his mind. Yi Chun suddenly found himself in a strange space due to the excruciating pain. He looked around. It was like a vast galaxy with countless stars twinkling. In the vast universe, pieces of crystal-like memory fragments were floating in the starry sky. What is this place? Yi Chun roared angrily at the starry sky, but no one responded. Countless fragments surrounded him, floating in the air. Some of the fragments floated toward him automatically, as if they were attracted by Yi Chun. He reached out and gently touched the memory fragment. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. At that moment, lightning struck and shuttled through Yi Chun's mind, causing his memories to return like the tide. However, this return was extremely painful. Yi Chun felt that his foundation was being destroyed by these memory fragments. It was obvious that his foundation was not strong enough to integrate these memories. However, these memories clearly carried an aura that made him familiar. It was precisely the primordial spirit of a heavenly emperor. Yi Chun used the ancient God-heart cultivation method to soothe his mind. Gradually, he finally saw the contents of the fragment. It was a conversation between him and a Buddha. This Buddha had a solemn appearance, and his entire body exuded a supreme Buddhist might. It was the 9th heaven Buddha Emperor. Buddha Emperor likes to cultivate between heaven and earth. Do you have any interesting news to share with me? The heavenly Emperor is indeed quick-witted. This time, I opened a Dharma ground in a low-level world called Cloud Valley Thunder Peak. Hearing this, Yi Chun's mind shook. It turned out that the reason he was so shocked when he heard the words Cloud Valley Thunder Peak was because this place was created by the Buddha Emperor. It already existed in his previous life's memory. Yi Chun looked at the memory before him again. This time, I went to this low-level world and created this Cloud Valley Thunder Peak. It is the entrance to the Meru Buddha realm of Little Western Paradise. It contains all kinds of martial arts secret manuals and treasures that I've obtained while cultivating between the universes. It's waiting for the fated one. Buddha Emperor's interest is extraordinary indeed. I admire it. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Suddenly, Yi Chun felt a bombardment in his mind. The memory disappeared instantly. When he looked at the memory fragment again, it turned into colorful dust and disappeared into the starry sky. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. At that moment, Yi Chun saw 4 big words appear in the starry sky. Heaven Origin Space. Following that, Yi Chun felt a great pressure on his body, and his primordial spirit instantly returned to reality. He suddenly got up and looked around. This place was still Cloud Valley Thunder Peak. There was no vast starry sky anymore. It was clear that this heaven origin space was used to contact the Heavenly Emperor's primordial spirit in Yi Chen's memory. Cloud Valley Thunder Peak, Meru Buddha realm of Little Western Paradise. All kinds of precious information quickly entered Yi Chen's mind, allowing him to make a judgment of the situation before him. Ha ha ha! At that moment, the sound of laughter shook the entire world. The demon master of the demon world and the primordial dragon sage of the primordial world had arrived at the same time. Seeing Yi Chen, immortal berserker sword was about to attack, but was stopped by the immortal fire dragon sage. Immortal berserker sword, is this the kid who took your heavenly scroll fragment? Immortal fire dragon sage asked. That's right, it's him. Immortal berserker sword replied. Immortal fire dragon sage sized Yi Chen up. Yi Chen was only at the true immortal stage. Although he was so young, it was already 1 in a million. Unfortunately, such a cultivation base was not even worth mentioning in his eyes. Therefore, immortal fire dragon sage could not imagine how Yi Chen could take the heavenly scroll fragment from a powerhouse like immortal berserker sword. This person is so useless, and yet he managed to take the treasure from your hands. This heavenly scroll fragment is a protective item that I gave my disciple. I didn't expect this person to take it from her. Last time, I wanted to take it back, but the demon master Qi Yin stopped me. If not for him, the heavenly scroll fragment would have returned to my hands. There's no need to explain. He's here now. You can take it back. That's what I was thinking. Immortal berserker sword's eyes were spitting fire. Previously, he had let Yi Chen escape and humiliated him. This was the best chance for him to regain his dignity. On the immortal warship, many powerhouses descended and sealed off Yi Chen's exit. They had to capture him. Faced with such a troublesome situation, Yi Chen's eyes turned slightly cold. He did not expect that in such a short time, the demon world and the primordial world would work together to find him. Yi Chen, hand over the heavenly scroll fragment and the 9 Skunda power. This is your only chance to live. Immortal berserker sword's eyes were cold as he shouted angrily. This kind of excuse to trick a 3-year-old only makes you look like an idiot in front of me. As soon as these words were spoken, immortal berserker sword exploded with boundless rage. With so many people watching, how could he be humiliated again? Chapter 2202. Whistling Sword Storm. The immortal berserker's sword shook heaven and earth. His powerful immortal ability triggered a phenomenon of heaven and earth, turning the clear sky into a world of rain. Each raindrop contained berserker's sword intent. The sword intent could kill a mystic immortal with a light touch. Its power was beyond imagination. If not for Yi Chen, the immortal berserker would not have revealed this ability so easily. In the previous battle with Yi Chen, he realized that although Yi Chen was only a true immortal, his foundation and the level of his ability were not something true immortals could compare to. A genius like this must be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, if he could not recruit him, he would become a huge problem in the future. Kill! The immortal berserker's battle cry rang out. The sky darkened and the sun and moon lost their light. Such might did not only surprise the many powerful cultivators from the primordial immortal world and the magic martial world, but also the immortal fire dragon, the immortal Lei Yun, and the immortal Lung Yu. To them, there was no need for the immortal berserker to put on such a stance against a mere true immortal. It was as if he was facing the strongest enemy in his life. Was it too much? They exchanged glances, unable to understand the immortal berserker's intentions. The Qi Yin demon master looked at the center of the battlefield coldly. He had fought Yi Chen before, so he understood the immortal berserker's actions very well. What he wanted to do was to use the immortal berserker's combat strength to predict the strength of the other 3 masters. This way, it would be easier to make arrangements for the final battle. Whether it was the people from a magic martial world or the primordial immortal world, they knew very well that their cooperation was a last-minute decision. Once Yi Chen was dealt with, the battle between them would be the key. Clang, clang, clang. In the blink of an eye, the swords clashed and sparks flew. Yi Chen waved his sword fingers. The immortal-slaying flying dagger appeared before him. The flying dagger flew rapidly according to Yi Chen's sword fingers, spinning and moving, evolving into the toughest sword net before him, preventing the immortal berserker's sword rain from touching Yi Chen. It was just a meeting, but the big shots from the primordial immortal world who did not understand immortal berserker sword's actions were all shocked. A mere true immortal would not be able to resist immortal berserker sword's powerful sword array no matter what. What kind of magical power was Yi Chen using? However, they watched carefully and pondered in their hearts. They still came to the most shocking conclusion. He was just doing as he pleased. That was right. Yi Chen was not using any divine power or secret technique. Instead, he was directing the immortal-slaying flying saber to attack at will. It could be seen that Yi Chen had seen through the path of the sword rain array before him. He could accurately attack and break the array easily. The three perfected masters were all super experts. Naturally, they knew that what they were seeing was not a one-sided battle, but an earth-shattering battle. Wild sword style kill. Sage Berserker Sword would never allow himself to be humiliated in front of so many powerhouses. He wanted to kill Yi Chen completely, so he performed a variation in the sword rain formation directly. This kind of battle method was extremely dangerous. This was a method that the venerable Berserker Sword would only use when facing an opponent of the same level or even stronger than him. Using it on Yi Chen showed how much importance he placed on Yi Chen. What's the use? Yi Chen scoffed coldly. Lightning circled around him, and thunder rumbled everywhere. 9 thunder god dharma forms appear behind him. 9 thunder god, 10,000 thunderbolts. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. The 9 thunder dragons evolved the power of thousands of thunderbolts, charging in all directions and destroying everything. 10,000 thunderbolts descended. No one could survive for 10,000 miles. 9 dragons descended. Blood flowed for 1,000 miles. Roar. The sound of the dragons slaying shook heaven and earth. The might of the heavenly Tao was unprecedented. This can't be. He's using the heavenly Tao thunder god dharma forms? How is this possible? Who is this kid? Even if he's a peerless genius, it's impossible for him to possess the heavenly Tao thunder god dharma forms. At this moment, the 3 perfected masters were completely stunned. They seemed to realize that the person before them was not an existence they could understand at all. He might very well have a shocking background and talent. Sage Fire Dragon looked at Sage Long Yu behind him. This small detail caught the Qi Yin Demon Master's attention. It was obvious that Sage Fire Dragon was the leader on the surface, but the most powerful person behind him was Sage Long Yu. Boom, boom, boom. In the sky, the sword rain shattered, and Sage Berserker Sword body was also blasted hundreds of meters away. Yi Chen, Sage Berserker Sword stood up abruptly and glared at Yi Chen. He was like a violent avenger looking at his greatest enemy. This shocking scene shocked countless demon warriors and primordial immortal world cultivators. Before this, how could they have imagined that a mere true immortal could fight against a heavenly immortal? You've lost to me. How dare you challenge me? Yi Chen stood with his hands behind his back like a heroic god, shocking everyone. ***. Sage Berserker Sword did not expect that not only did he fail to wash away his previous humiliation, but he was also defeated by Yi Chen. He could not accept such an outcome, even if he died. He was a super powerhouse at Heavenly Immortal stage, qualified to challenge the Heavenly Tribulation and ascend to the Heavenly Realm. How could he be defeated by a mere true immortal? Berserker Sword's final hit. The perfected master was enraged. Berserker Sword's most powerful killing move charged at Yi Chen. How dare you? Just as Yi Chen was about to fight back, there was another shocking sound in the sky. The 3 Buddha venerables attacked at the same time. 3 beams of Buddhist light gathered and went against Sage Berserker Sword's killing move. Rumble. It was earth-shattering. There was a loud rumble and the sky collapsed. The entire space was shaken. In the end, the Buddhist light dissipated and Sage Berserker Sword was blasted back to the primordial immortal world. Everyone looked at the sky and saw the figures of the three venerables. Sage Fiery Dragon stepped forward and said, "Who are you? How dare you hurt someone from the primordial immortal world?" "Ha ha ha, Sage Fiery Dragon, you've entered the Bodhi realm not just to find Ichun, right? Oh, what do you think we're here for?" Sumeru Buddha Realm, the Buddha Emperor's treasury. As soon as he said this, everyone became serious. It seemed like the truth was out. Everyone's goal had been exposed by this Buddha venerable master. The fighters from the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world put on cautious expressions. Once this matter was exposed, there would be no turning back. Then, conflict could erupt at any time. Naturally, they had to be cautious. However, the three venerables smiled and said, "You don't have to be so nervous." When the Sumeru Buddha realm was first built, the Buddha Emperor's goal was to wait for the fated. If you can enter the Buddha realm from the Cloud Valley Thunder Peak and pass the Buddha Emperor's test, you can naturally obtain the Buddha Emperor's treasure and even the Buddha Emperor's inheritance. Really? The Chi Yin Demon Lord revealed a look of greed. What kind of person was the Buddha Emperor? He was a god from ancient legends. Obtaining his inheritance was more useful than cultivating for 10,000 years. Who dares to defy the Buddha Emperor's order? Chapter 2203. Ha! Since the Venerable One has opened the entrance, what do we have to fear? The Flame Chi Lord walked out and smiled at the crowd. Everyone from the primordial immortal world looked at the venerable fiery dragon. The latter thought for a moment and then said, "The Buddha Emperor's treasury is a 1,000-year opportunity. If we miss it, it'll be too late for regrets. Why not take this gamble?" Everyone from the primordial immortal world looked excited. Fighting for treasures was what cultivators were most passionate about. Everyone had the dream of obtaining treasures and ascending to the limit. If that's the case, let's go. The Flame Chi Lord walked forward while the three venerable ones looked at Yichen. Everyone was confused, waiting for the venerable ones to open the Buddha door. How should they look at Yichen now? They did not know that the real key to open the Bodhi realm was in Yichen's hands. Yichen, the 9 skanda power, is the key to open the Bodhi door. It's up to you. With that, the three venerable ones disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, everyone's attention returned to Yichen. He was the most crucial person in this operation. Who would have thought that opening the Bodhi door would require this person? Exactly, but how could a mere immortal have such ability? Are the three venerable ones mocking us? Everyone looked at Yichen with disdain. No matter how they looked at him, they could not find any clues to open the Buddha door. However, the Flame Chi Lord and the other supercombatants understood that Yichen possessed the 9 skanda power. Only they did not know what kind of power this 9 skanda power had to open the Bodhi door. "Yichen, please," the Flame Chi Lord said coldly to Yichen. Yichen looked at the various combatants. Everyone was glaring at him coldly, as if forcing him to open the Buddha gate. Even in the face of such might, Yichen was not afraid. However, he still had to enter the Buddha Emperor's treasury to look for the Patriarch and the others. Otherwise, he would never compromise. "A bunch of trash. You." Hearing Yichen's mockery, the crowd was furious, but they suppressed their anger. After all, Yichen was the only choice to open the Bodhi door. If they attacked him now, they would be blocking everyone's way to find the treasure. No one dared to take such a risk to attack Yichen. Yichen ignored everyone's malicious looks and walked to the peak. 9 accumulations power? He looked at the peak in front of him. Buddha energy was circulating within it. This was very clear to him. He pointed his sword finger at the peak, and the Buddha energy from the heavenly spirit, along with the spiritual accumulation, was channeled into the peak. Boom! A rumbling sound rang out from the peak of the mountain, and it seemed as though there was a formidable power circulating within it. This level of power shocked many of the experts there. This was definitely an attack from a pinnacle true immortal. Under this kind of attack, 90% of the cultivators present would be annihilated. Immediately, everyone fell into a panic. They all looked at their leaders, hoping for protection or some kind of order. The Chi Yin Demon Lord enlightened fiery dragon, and the other leaders did not give any instructions, so the crowd could only hold on in fear. Z. Suddenly, on the peak of the nine heavens, the majestic cloud Buddha statue appeared again. Yichun was prepared for the cloudy Buddha statues as he had defeated one of them before. At this moment, on top of the Buddha statue in the clouds, a wheel of spiritual accumulations appeared. 9 spiritual accumulations floated behind the Buddha statue. Yichun, what's this? Quickly open the Bodhi door, or don't blame us for being rude. Yes, if you dare to play any tricks, you'll die a horrible death. Our patience is limited. Don't test us. Whether it was the magic martial world or the primordial immortal world, many of the combatants pressured Yichun because the cloudy Buddha statue was too much for them. They did not want to keep facing it. Ha ha ha. After hearing a few maniacal laughs, Yichun turned to look at the crowd and said, "You're just a motley crew. You can't even withstand this pressure, and you dare to say that you want to enter the Buddha Emperor's treasury to search for treasures? You're hilarious. D***. You're too arrogant." Just as the crowd was cursing, Yichun's eyes suddenly turned cold. He channeled the spiritual accumulation and triggered the cloudy Buddha statue. A Buddha's palm descended from the sky and attacked the combatants who had spoken viciously. The combatants did not expect the cloudy Buddha statue to listen to Yichun's orders. They were all shocked. At the same time, the Buddha's palm descended like a mountain, crushing those combatants instantly. Painful screams rang out. Blood flowed, thousands of feet, bones, muscles, and flesh were crushed. They were the ones who died without a burial. Ha ha ha. Yichun laughed maniacally again when he saw the people who mocked him being killed by the Buddha's palm. Even a true immortal powerhouse would feel fear rising from the bottom of their hearts from his shocking appearance and powerful, murderous aura. Facing Yichun, who could use the power of the cloudy Buddha statue, they dared not move. After all, this was the entrance to the Sumeru Buddha realm. Yichun could use Buddha's power, so he was fighting on his home ground. Whether it was the magic martial world or the primordial immortal world, they had to respect him. Yichun, you killed the combatants from the magic martial world and the primordial immortal world. Do you really want to be our enemy? The fire dragon sage said in a deep voice. There's no smoke without fire. Take care of your useless subordinates, and everyone will be fine. Facing Yichun's domineering response, the Qi and Demon Master and the fire dragon sage looked at each other. Then, they restrained their subordinates and stopped causing trouble. They could only endure the temptation of the Buddha Emperor's treasure. Yichun turned around and looked at the cloudy Buddha statue in front of him again. It turned out that this Buddha statue could be controlled by the 9 skanda power. In that case, the key to breaking the Bodhi door must be this Buddha statue. Since our minds are connected, I'll give you a chance to make a contribution. How about that? Unexpectedly, the Buddha statue nodded slightly after Yichun's question. Everyone was amazed, especially those combatants who were puzzled by Yichun's behavior and thought that he was stalling for time. When they saw the Buddha statue nod, it was as if they had seen an incomprehensible magic trick. Their jaws dropped. This kid is something. How does he control that Buddha statue? Many combatants were amazed by the power of Yichun's divine ability and secret technique. Their attitude toward him was changing. At this moment, Yichun's divine consciousness moved. The 9 skanda operated and the cloudy Buddha statue moved at the same time. Its huge figure descended from above the clouds, causing many combatants to reveal a look of fear. They thought that Yichun wanted to kill them with the power of the cloudy Buddha statue. The Buddha statue stretched out a huge palm print and hit the mountain wall in front of it. Rumble. The rumbling sound shook heaven and earth as if the sky was collapsing and the earth was collapsing. A space-time door appeared on the huge mountain. This door was the Bodhi door that opened the Buddha Emperor's treasure. Chapter 2204. Seeing the Bodhi door open at the bottom of the peak, everyone was overjoyed. They rushed toward the door, wanting to rush into the treasury and find their own treasures. Seeing this, Yichun, as the biggest contributor to opening the door, did not move. If it was so easy to enter the Buddha Emperor's treasury, it would not meet the standards of the three venerable ones. Everyone charged into the Buddha dimension and saw an expanse of emptiness. Not to mention treasures. There wasn't even a single tree or blade of grass, and such a situation caused everyone to be extremely disappointed. At the same time, all of them revealed savage expressions as they cursed out furiously. "You're just a mob." Previously, the three venerable ones said that to obtain the Buddha Emperor's treasure, you have to pass the test left behind by the Buddha Emperor. Have you forgotten it so quickly? Yi Chen's words woke everyone up. However, they asked Yi Chen, what was the test? At this moment, a venerable guide appeared. "Everyone, the Buddha Emperor likes people who are fated with Buddha, and they must be genius cultivators. Therefore, you must first pass the test of the Buddha Emperor's sacred tablet before you have the right to participate in the other tests." What? Upon hearing this, the crowd all revealed looks of displeasure. They were all powerful people, and the reason they came here was to seize the treasures. Yet, there were actually so many rules here. This was especially so for the experts from the demon martial world. Their faces were all filled with hatred, and it seemed like they were about to explode. "Flame Demon Master, I think you should restrain your subordinates. Don't ruin everyone's business." Immortal Fire Dragon said. You don't have to worry about that." The Flame Demon Master's demonic psyche moved. Instantly, the powerhouses of the demon tribe within 100 miles calmed down. This was the Red Demon Overlord's special ability. He could control the entire Red Demon army with his demonic psyche. At this moment, Venerable Guide waved his hand and released Buddhist power. Under the dazzling Buddhist light, a huge stone tablet appeared before everyone. Everyone looked at the stone tablet. The stone tablet emitted a dazzling light, and waves of Buddhist power rushed in all directions. Be it immortal cultivators or demonic cultivators, they were all affected by the Buddha Emperor's sacred light. Their moods relaxed, and they were no longer violent. Such an exquisite law made Yi Chen very curious. He could feel the violent killing intent in his body vanishing completely, as if he had entered an extremely stable and quiet state. It was obvious that the Buddha Emperor's sacred tablet had the special ability to eliminate a cultivator's killing intent and battle intent. It was extremely unique. All four factions will send 10 experts to take the test. Those who pass the test can continue to the mountain realm. The rest will have to wait here. What? As soon as he said that, many experts revealed looks of displeasure. Every force had sent 10 people, and so many of them had come. Didn't that mean that countless experts would lose this opportunity? Someone else realized that something was wrong. Venerable Fiery Dragon walked to the front and said, "Even if we follow your rules, we have the immortal spirit realm and the demon martial realm. Yi Chen is considered a force on his own. There are only 3 forces. How can there be 4 forces?" Immortal Fiery Dragon, the 4th force will arrive soon. The words of the Venerable Jie-in caused the people of the Demon and Martial Empire and the Primordial Immortal Empire to be perplexed. At the same time, they became cautious. An unknown power was the most terrifying. They did not want to create a situation where their opponents were in the dark while they were out in the open. Yi Chen pondered for a moment and instantly thought of the most likely reason for the 4th force. Venerable Jie-in, is the 4th force the fighter in the last day's desert? Smart. It's the evil spirits. His words shocked everyone. Everyone frowned. Although the evil spirits had always been developing in the underworld divine realm, there were legends about them in the various dimensions. Legend had it that the evil spirits had crossed the 6 realms to conquer the world and become invincible. Where are the evil spirits? The Qi Yin Demon Lord shouted. Rumble. Just as the Qi Yin Demon Lord asked this question, there was a flash of lightning in the sky. Evil energy filled the sky. The evil Venerable Lord and the Heavenly Sea Evil Lord had arrived. You 3 forces are nothing more than food for the evil spirits. Hurry up and get out of the mountain realm. In the sky, the evil Venerable Lord's domineering voice resounded like thunder. Everyone frowned and looked at the sky. It was the evil spirit army that filled the sky and pressed down on the city. Such power was even above the demon martial world and the primordial immortal world, causing people from the latter two realms to shift their target from Yi-chun to the evil spirits. At the same time, the Buddha Venerable Lord waved his finger and a sword boat appeared in the sky. The person sitting at the bow was the Patriarch of Hell. Great Emperor Yi, the Patriarch shouted from his sword boat. Yi-chun was overjoyed when he heard this voice. As expected, everyone was in the Bodhi realm. Master, Yi Wushuang was ecstatic to see Yi-chun again. Wushuang, Patriarch, seeing that everyone had landed safely, Yi-chun smiled. He would not be alone this time. Now that the four forces are here, choose 10 people from each side to participate in this test. Ha ha! You the Venerable Lord? The evil Venerable Lord asked. The Venerable Lord looked at the evil Venerable Lord coldly, because the other party clearly had bad intentions. His tone was full of disdain. Naturally, the Venerable Lord could not accept such a blasphemous action. Otherwise, it would be disrespectful to the Buddha Emperor's arrangements, and he would be the enemy of the mountain realm. Seeing the Venerable Lord's displeasure, the evil Venerable Lord smiled coldly and did not care. He continued, "The evil spirit army is here to support you, but you're asking us to send only 10 people. Aren't you being too stingy? Why don't you ask the 3 forces to send only 10 people, and all the evil spirits will go?" Roar, roar, roar. Hearing this, countless powerhouses within the evil spirit army roared in unison, and their voices were loud and powerful. Such power suppressed the primordial immortal world and the demon martial world. In an instant, it became the strongest voice present. Ha ha ha! However, after hearing several maniacal laughs, the benevolent Venerable Lord revealed an angry expression as he locked his cold eyes on the evil Venerable Lord. Do you want to break the rules set by the Buddha Emperor? Or do you all want to die here? Such a domineering question caused the evil spirit army to explode. The Venerable Lord dared to be so disrespectful to them. This was courting death. Immediately, the evil spirit powerhouses stepped forward and surrounded the Buddha Emperor's sacred tablet. They revealed endless killing intent, as if they wanted to clean up the entire place and take the treasures for themselves. I won't turn back until I run into a wall. The Venerable Lord smiled coldly and placed a hand on the tablet. Instantly, boundless Buddha light shone again, and the Buddha Emperor's image appeared. TSK, TSK, TSK. Suddenly, the Supreme Buddha energy filled the world. The sun and moon lost their light, and the stars scattered. Only the Buddha's light filled the universe. This was absolute supremacy. This was the true ruler of the entire place. Impudent. With a shout, the Buddha Emperor's image sent out a palm that pressed down on the evil spirit army. It was as if the 5 elements had descended from the heavens and a meteor had pierced through the stars. Chapter 22:05. The powerful Buddha Emperor's light instantly enveloped the entire evil spirit army, followed by a powerful spiritual baptism. Many of the evil spirit warriors seemed to have suffered a heavy blow to their minds, and they all fell into agony. Such a scene caused the evil lord to frown. He could sense the Buddha Emperor's light in the surrounding space, and he instantly felt that these lights contained extremely powerful law energy. These Buddhist arts could cleanse the souls of the warriors, causing their killing intent to devour their own strength. The effect on the evil spirit army was very obvious, because the killing intent of the evil spirit army was the strongest. Damn it! The evil unlord roared out in rage. Following that, a supremely powerful tilting pagoda appeared in his hands. Within this tilting pagoda, a series of extremely powerful evil powers countered against the Buddha light, wanting to devour it and destroy the Buddha Emperor's shadow. No! At this moment, the evil lord of Tian Ho wanted to stop it, but he was a step too late. The evil lord's counterlight had already shot out from the tilted tower and reached the Buddha's light. Ha ha, Wong Wong! At this moment, Reverend Jie-in sneered. The Buddha Emperor's light was formed by the divine will left behind by the Buddha Emperor. The height of the laws was not something that a puny evil sovereign could compare to. Releasing the counterlight meant that he would fall into the Buddha Emperor's control. Z. The The evil energy within the tilted pagoda shot up into the sky and attacked the Buddha Emperor's shadow. At this moment, the Buddha Emperor gently flicked his finger. Instantly, countless golden lotuses appeared out of thin air and surrounded the tilted pagoda. What, my tilting tower? The evil lord wanted to retrieve the tilting tower, but it was already too late. The tilting tower was surrounded by the golden lotuses, and in the end, with a shocking explosion, it turned into fine powder. Looking at his own treasure being reduced to dust, one could only imagine the emotions in the heart of the evil unlord. But in the face of the Buddha Emperor, even if it was just a spirit wolf phantom image, killing a powerful being like the evil unlord was still as easy as snapping a finger. Looking at the approaching golden lotuses, the evil lord finally understood how insignificant he was in front of the Buddha Emperor. Disobeying the orders of the Buddha Emperor was the same as seeking death. As long as one stepped into the Sumera Buddha realm, one would have to accept the Buddha Emperor's arrangements. Please stop. We will cooperate. Seeing that danger was right before them, the evil lord of the heavenly malevolence spoke up decisively and shouted at the Reverend Jain. A wise man submits to circumstances. Evil lord, you must never go against the Buddha Emperor's arrangements. Otherwise, you will end up like that tilting pagoda of yours, smashed into pieces. Although the evil lord was still strong, his heart was already shaken. The Reverend Jain looked at the crowd. Hurry up and choose the candidates for the test. All right. The people of the four forces agreed and began to choose. Yichen looked at the Buddha Emperor's silhouette. It was rapidly disappearing, but he still felt a sense of familiarity from the silhouette. It was the Heavenly Emperor's friend from his previous life, the Ninth Heaven Buddha Emperor. Great Emperor Yi, how is it now? Asked the old ancestor. Let's do as Venerable Jiayin said and choose 10 people to participate in the test. The people nodded one after another. The choice was naturally in Yichen's hands. Yichen looked at the crowd. At a glance, he could see everyone's cultivation base. However, the level of cultivation base was one thing and the level of talent was another. Although some of them had a high cultivation base, their talent was lacking. According to the Buddha Emperor's arrangements, talent and affinity with Buddha were both important factors. Everyone, this isn't an easy task. Only those with deep talent and affinity with Buddha can get this chance. Otherwise, you'll only be sending yourself to death. The great emperor is right. We'll obey. After all the hardships that they had gone through, they still knew that Yi Chen was the true powerhouse. Naturally, they would not doubt what Yi Chen said. All of you, sit cross-legged and calm down. Wait for my Buddha's light test. Yes. Everyone sat down and held their breaths in concentration. At that moment, Yi Chen activated the Heavenly Spirit Buddha method. Buddha light enveloped everyone's heads. In an instant, everyone's affinity with Buddha and talent level were revealed. Within the rules of the Heavenly Spirit Buddha method, the Patriarch of Hell, Yi Wu Shuang, the Patriarch of Hell, and the rest passed the test and became participants on Yi Chen's side. Everyone, it's done. All right, we'll do our best. Everyone listened to Yi Chen's instructions and stood in a line, waiting for the test. Meanwhile, the devil martial world, the primordial spirit world, and the evil spirit world had also chosen their strongest 10 to participate in the test. Seeing that the people from the four forces had completed their choices, Venerable Jiayin nodded slightly. Buddha Emperor Sacred Tablet. With Supremacy Jiayin's command, the Buddha Emperor Sacred Tablet glowed, and a welcoming path appeared in front of them. All of you will be tested one by one. I want to tell all of you that if you are not fated with Buddha, I'm afraid that a great spiritual crisis will occur to your martial arts if you participate in this test. You might even be crippled. Please reconsider. What? Hearing this, everyone revealed looks of displeasure. Affinity with Buddha was a talent that many people from the demon martial world and the evil spirit world looked down on. Now that such a rule was mentioned, they were naturally very displeased. If you don't want to accept it, then don't participate in the test. It's just that you can't obtain the Buddha Emperor's treasure. What's there to discuss? The Venerable shouted coldly. Ha ha, it's just fate with Buddha. What's there to be afraid of? I'll go first." The evil undead lord laughed loudly. He walked at the front and gathered the 10 evil spirits. He walked on the receiving path and came before the saint monument. He stretched out his hand and placed it on the saint monument. Immediately, the saint monument emitted a strange light, and the image of the Buddha Emperor appeared behind it. The Buddha Emperor pointed a finger at the evil supremacy. ZZZ. Buddha light blazed brightly, directly enveloping the body of the evil lord. "Ah, it's so hot." The evil supremacy felt as if his body was being burned by endless flames, falling into endless pain. He released his evil energy to resist, but the more he resisted, the more he felt the pain in his body. Although the evil supremacy was an evil person, to be able to cultivate to the true evil stage, he was not an ordinary person. Naturally, he had talent. Should I let nature take its course? Thinking of this, the evil supremacy completely released his murderous intent, transforming into a state of no desire. Then he sat cross-legged in the air, letting the Buddha light envelop him. Suddenly, his body felt cool. Not only did he not feel the burning flames, but he even felt his body being infused with energy. At this moment, he activated his mind cultivation method and could use this power. It was very surprising. So this is the fate with Buddha? I understand now. The evil supremacy's laughter surprised everyone. They did not know what happened to him, but the evil supremacy's body was shining brightly. It was obvious that his cultivation base had increased. Seeing this, Yichen already understood that the Buddha Emperor's so-called test was to sense whether the people could accept the Buddha's teachings. The more they resisted, the more they would be punished. The quieter they were, the more they could understand the meaning behind it. Although the evil supremacy was an evil person, his talent was naturally able to adapt to the situation. This was the reason why he succeeded. Chapter 2206. Seeing this clearly, Yi Chun turned around and used his divine consciousness to transmit his immortal energy. Everyone received this important information and then guided their actions. The evil lord absorbed the power of the Buddha light and guided his own evil energy to sense the power of the saint monument. Very quickly, the saint monument emitted a Buddha light and reflected it. The evil lord had actually obtained the saint monument's rating. How is my affinity with Buddhism? The evil lord turned around to look at the crowd and shouted arrogantly. The evil uncle lord is indeed very talented. Let me be the next. As he spoke, the heavenly centipede evil lord stepped forward. He had cultivated the Dharma for a long time in the last days' vast desert, and he believed that his understanding of the Dharma had reached the point of perfection. His fate with the Dharma was deep, and he would definitely succeed in one go. He walked in front of the holy monument and placed his hand on it. Immediately, the Buddha's silhouette shone with Buddha light again, enveloping evil Lord Tianqi's body. Instantly, the Buddha light scattered and a Buddha eye appeared on evil Lord Tianqi's head. ZZZ. The Buddha eye accepted the Buddha light, and the entire holy monument shone brightly. Rating high. Ha. The heaven scarlet, evil Lord laughed out loud. Not only had he comprehended the power of the Buddha light, but he had also unlocked an even higher level of Buddha affinity. Mighty. The evil spirit army cheered for their leader. The two high lords are so powerful, we can't fall behind. That's right. We will fight for the glory of the evil spirits. The 8 strongest evil spirits took large strides forward and tested themselves one by one. Although the top 5 did not get the top grade, they were still average. The 3 Darksiders behind them walked up. The first 2 had obtained a low rating, and the last one had actually shown some abnormalities during the test. My head. He frantically scratched his head and kept rolling on the ground. His entire person had sunk into extreme confusion. This was the first time such a situation had occurred, and everyone was very puzzled. What happened? The evil lord asked Reverend Jia-in. Your talent isn't enough, and your affinity with Buddhism isn't deep enough. You deserve to die. What? No matter what, this person was a powerful member of the evil spirit army. Was he going to die here? Evil Sovereign was furious and requested Jane's Sovereign to save this person, but Jane's Sovereign only shook his head. This is fate. It cannot be defied. Bastard. How could the evil overlord be willing to let this go? He released his evil powers, wanting to forcefully control this person and make him return to his evil spirit state. However, this person's mental state had already been affected by the Buddhist Dharma and had become illusory. There was no longer any concept of an evil spirit in his mind. It's all fabricated. Then he muttered, "Fabrications." Then he turned around and walked towards the void. Then his body continuously emitted green smoke and turned to dust. Everyone turned pale with fright because just a single Buddhist light was capable of causing an extraordinary expert at the mysterious immortal realm to fall into death. Exactly how formidable is the Buddhist emperor? Yichen smiled faintly. The Buddha emperor was someone who could speak to the heavenly emperor. Such methods were nothing special. After the test, there were only 9 evil spirits left. After that, the people from the world of demon martial arts stepped onto the stage. We, the people of the demon martial world, cannot fall behind. Yes. The Qi-Yin Devil Lord stepped on the devil flames and walked on the path of guidance. ZZZ. Under the illumination of the Buddhist light, the Qi-Yin Devil Lord's body actually reflected a powerful dark light. Such a phenomenon amazed everyone. Subsequently, the Qi-Yin Devil Lord felt as if his body was weightless as he floated in the air. Then, the surrounding space rapidly changed and 18 arhats appeared. Congratulations, Your Excellency, for obtaining the Black Arhat's might. What is this? The power of the 18 Black Arhats, each with their own abilities, is for you to use. The power of the Black Arhats? Ha ha! The Qi-Yin Devil Lord's maniacal laughter shook the heavens and earth. His entire body emitted supreme dark Buddhist might, causing the surrounding space to tremble uneasily as if it had fallen into a realm of hell. The people from the surrounding major factions revealed expressions of shock. The phenomenon happening to this person was too shocking. Finally, the Qi-Yin Devil Lord opened his eyes. Waves of dark light illuminated the world, and the shadows of the 18 Black Arhats appeared behind him. How is this possible? Yi Chen's eyes were slightly cold. He did not expect that the Qi-Yin Devil Lord of the demon martial world, a person who killed without batting an eyelid, could obtain a gift from the Buddha Emperor. This meant that the Buddha Emperor's Buddhist teachings were indiscriminate. It did not matter what one's identity was, as long as one had affinity with Buddhism and talent. One could obtain the Buddha Emperor's gift. The people of the primordial immortal world were naturally very unhappy and discussed animatedly. A demonic being can obtain the Buddha Emperor's gift. What does the Buddha Emperor mean? The ninth heaven Buddha Emperor should be the light of righteousness. How can he nourish a demonic being? The primordial immortal world powerhouses were very unhappy and looked down on the Qi-Yin Devil Lord for obtaining the Buddha Emperor's power. Even the fact that he had obtained the power of the Black Arhat made many people from the primordial immortal world wonder if the ninth heaven Buddha Emperor was also a demon. Seeing such a development, the Venerable Jane looked coldly at the primordial immortal world powerhouses, revealing a displeased expression. The Buddha Emperor's actions are not to be questioned. Otherwise, you will not be able to bear the Buddha Emperor's judgment. ZZZT, ZZZT, ZZZT. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Everyone could only shut up. After all, the death of the mystic immortal world powerhouse was still fresh in their minds. Go. Yes. The Qi-Yin Devil Lord gave the order, and the 3 venerables stepped forward. White Eyes, Qianlong, and Nine Tails made their moves and also obtained the Buddha affinity. White Eyes and Nine Tails obtained the medium grade, while Qianlong actually obtained the superior grade. The 6 devil world powerhouses at the back showed abnormalities. 3 of them died, and their losses were even greater than the evil spirits. But because the Qi-Yin Devil Lord had obtained the power of the 18 Black Arhats, he did not take it to heart. The Demon Martial Empire and the Evil Spirit Empire have fallen. The primordial immortal world naturally cannot fall behind. This time, let them see the power of the primordial immortal world. Venerable Fire Dragon vowed solemnly. Good, good, good. The primordial immortal world powerhouses and warriors shouted and cheered loudly. Venerable Fire Dragon took the lead, and the four venerables advanced together. Among them, Venerable Fire Dragon, Venerable Cold Moon, and Venerable Crazy Sword all obtained the Buddha Emperor's special power and were superior grade. Only Venerable Thunder Cloud only obtained the ordinary Buddha power and was superior grade. Of the 6 primordial immortal world powerhouses that followed, 2 obtained inferior grade and actually killed 4, creating a small record. Seeing the 4 primordial immortal world true immortals killed, Venerable Fire Dragon was enraged. However, before the Buddha Emperor, he did not dare to act rashly. Moreover, the 3 venerable masters obtained the special power, which was still a great thing. Senior Brother Fire Dragon, just bear with it. Venerable Thunder Cloud said. Sigh, all right. Venerable Fire Dragon held back his temper and looked at Yichun. The people from the 3 major forces had completed the test. Now, only Yichun and the others had not completed it. Everyone wanted to know to what extent they could go. Ha ha ha. A team led by a human won't be wiped out this time, right? Who knows? The people from the major forces mocked. At this time, Yichun coldly walked on the receiving path. Chapter 2207. Under Yichun's lead, several powerhouses stepped onto the path to receive them. The first powerhouse was an elder from the Acheron sect. This person's cultivation base was extraordinary. He was a perfected immortal powerhouse. Everyone, I'll clear the Acheron sect's name right now. All right, everyone shouted, hoping that this powerhouse could gain the Buddha Emperor's favor. Yichun glanced over. This person was surrounded by a lot of evil energy. This was related to the method he cultivated. Such a person could only rely on instant comprehension. Otherwise, once the holy monument determined that his affinity with Buddha was not good, the consequences would be unpredictable. Be sincere in your heart and don't resist. Yes, great Emperor. The powerhouse walked forward. He was extremely confident in his talent. After all, it was impossible for a cultivator to become a perfected immortal to succeed unless he was extremely lucky. He spread his hands on the holy monument. Instantly, layers of Buddha shadows appeared, and beams of light attacked that person. Instantly, that person felt like he had fallen into hell. In an instant, countless lonely souls rushed toward him. He was completely unprepared. He only thought that as long as his talent and cultivation base were enough, he would definitely gain the Buddha Emperor's favor. After all, if the people from the demon martial world and the evil spirit world could do it, why couldn't he? Underestimating the enemy and encountering such a soul-stirring change, the expert's response was obviously problematic. The people behind Yichun were shocked. They did not expect that the number 1 person on their side would have a problem. Ha ha ha. Seeing this scene, the people from the other forces around them laughed, especially those who predicted that Yichun's side would be wiped out. As expected, the first one to die here. Wait for the show. Everyone looked at the holy monument. That powerhouse's face was pale. Clearly, he had fallen into an extremely deep mental test. In that person's mental world, the surrounding hell constantly changed. The state of madness had already exceeded his imagination. Damn it! He flew out a palm toward those lonely souls. As a perfected immortal, he was very confident in his own strength. He believed that with the power of a perfected immortal, he could completely break through the current situation. However, after this palm attack, not only did it not destroy the lonely souls, but it also absorbed the power within, multiplying its power. How could this be? That person fell into a desperate situation. His heart was at a loss. How could he have thought that there would be such a terrifying scene in the holy monument? Kill. In a state of madness, the mad palm would only cause the lonely soul to go berserk. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Boundless lonely souls attacked in a frenzy, like a flood or ferocious beast, shaking one's soul and shattering one's courage. Under such a powerful bombardment, that expert fell into self-doubt and even had thoughts of giving up. This was not because of his nature, but because of the influence of his surroundings. Not only could the souls attack his soul, but they could also wear away at his will to fight. They could even make him choose death. Yi Chun could guess the predicament the combatant was facing by looking at his physical condition. "Great Emperor, what is going on?" the old ancestor asked. After all, that elder was the main force of the Yellow Spring sect. The old ancestor didn't want him to die here. This person has fallen into a self-created predicament. A self-created predicament. Everyone was puzzled. That's right. This Saint Monument doesn't just test your physical talent. It also tests your martial will, mental cultivation, adaptability, and so on. Every single aspect is extremely important. This person was overconfident and triggered the heart demon purgatory. What should we do? He can only rely on himself to break it. I hope he remembers what I told him. At this moment, everyone finally understood how important the words Yi Chun had told the elder earlier were. After Yi Chun's explanation, everyone understood the true meaning. When they went on stage, they would not repeat the same mistake. At this moment in the mind predicament that he had created, the combatant calmed down. After all, he was a true immortal powerhouse. He had encountered many predicaments in his cultivation process and had survived them all. Now, he finally remembered what Yi Chun had told him. A heart of sincerity cannot be resisted. The combatant closed his eyes slightly and sat cross-legged in the air. True immortal technique. He released his mind technique and evolved the surroundings, no longer fighting against the lonely souls. In an instant, the murderous aura dissipated. The surrounding lonely souls seemed to have lost their target and became blind. They stared at the person sitting cross-legged in front of them and no longer attacked. Great Emperor Yi is indeed a god. That combatant had completely submitted to Yi Chun now. He realized the difference between him and Yi Chun. In the end, it was more daunting than dangerous. Although he did not obtain the special Buddha power, he managed to keep his life. Seeing that the combatant opened his eyes slightly and walked back from the holy monument, the people from the other forces were displeased. They did not expect that the show they wanted to see did not happen. Subsequently, the 5 combatants moved out one after another. They followed Yi Chun's instructions and escaped from danger one after another, obtaining this opportunity. However, due to their lack of talent and affinity with Buddha, they still could not obtain the Holy Monument's power. Yi Chun's group still has 4 people left. They're considered the main force. What we want to see is that the minions at the front are fine. It'll be even more fun if the main force is destroyed. That makes sense. I don't believe that all 4 of them can pass. Many people from the other forces began to mock and curse Yi Chun's group again. How dare such a narrow-minded person speak such nonsense? At this moment, the ghostly patriarch walked to the front and said coldly, "Ghostly patriarch, don't boast. Die. I'll never embarrass great Emperor Yi." The ghostly patriarch smirked and walked to the holy monument. Everyone held their breaths, waiting for the result. At this moment, the holy monument released the power of Buddha's light that enveloped the ghostly patriarch's body. Immediately, a monk appeared behind him. Everyone saw that it was the Vajra Arhat. It can't be. This B** starred can obtain the special Buddha power? Seeing this, many people from the other forces exclaimed. Meanwhile, everyone smiled on Yi Chun's side. They hoped that the ghostly patriarch would succeed. This time, the ghostly patriarch dared not make a decision on his own. He followed Yi Chun's instructions completely. As expected, he could obtain the special Buddha power relatively easily without suffering any backlash. Thank you for the holy monument's praise. After passing the test, the ghostly patriarch bowed and returned to the team with the Vajra Arhat's might. Congratulations! Everyone congratulated the ghostly patriarch. At this moment, the ghostly patriarch and Yi Wushuang went up one after another. With their talent and Yi Chun's explanation, naturally, they could pass easily. They obtained the special Buddha power, the Buddha punishment saber, and the killer Buddha sword respectively. Finally, everyone's attention returned to Yi Chun. After all, this was the last test, and it was an operation that concerned the entire situation. Yichin smiled lightly and walked to the front casually. Chapter 2208. Ha ha ha! This brat is digging his own grave. Arrogant piece of trash, he's dead for sure. Now that he's dead, we can receive the 9 skanda power of the heavenly spirit Buddha. Many combatants were already eyeing Yi Chun like tigers watching their prey, waiting for him to die under the holy monument and receive the 9 skanda power to ascend. Yi Chun was expressionless in the face of these people's curses. He took a step forward, and immediately the Buddha's light bloomed to lead the way. Previously, when everyone stepped onto the path of guidance, there were not many changes. However, this time, the moment Yichin stepped onto the path of guidance seemed to be stimulated and activated holy light mode. Boundless starlight fell on the path of guidance because the heavenly emperor had descended. The Buddha's light blazed even more, causing the surrounding combatants to fall into a state of shock. Even existences like the Qi Yin Demon Master, the Fire Dragon Sage, and the Evil Overlord changed their expressions slightly. This was because the phenomenon that Yi Chun had triggered was too mysterious. Before he even touched the holy monument, such a scene had already occurred. They could not help but wonder if there would be an even more powerful phenomenon when he touched the holy monument. Yi Chun continued along the path of light. With every step he took, everyone became more nervous. Countless combatants stared at the figure on the path of guidance, hoping to see an even more mysterious phenomenon. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Yi Chun finally reached out and touched the holy monument. Immediately, behind the holy monument, the Buddha Emperor's shadow glowed. The surrounding space rapidly changed, and a Buddha Emperor realm appeared, surrounding Yi Chun. What's the meaning of this? Look, there's a strange space within 1,000 feet of this person. Isn't this too exaggerated? Is he trapped by the holy monument or something? Many experts couldn't see through the Buddha light alternate space. The Buddha Dharma that circulated within was even more exquisite and unparalleled. It was the true Buddha sovereign's nomological laws. This wasn't something that ordinary people could accept. Only those who had truly obtained the recognition of the Buddha sovereign could have such an honor. The holy monument was the condensation of the Buddha Emperor's power. It had already sensed the heavenly Emperor's energy from Yi Chun. Although it was a lifetime ago, it was easy for a combatant of this level to do so. Old friend, long time no see. In this strange space, everyone saw a blank space, but Yi Chun saw the Buddha Emperor's golden body. You are the 9 heavens Buddha Emperor. Yi Chun opened his eyes and walked forward. The people in the outside world still saw Yi Chun sitting cross-legged in the air, motionless. This alternate dimension had completely cut off Yi Chun's connection with the outside world, preventing anyone from getting any information from the inside. The experts of the Scarlet Flame Demon Clan, Daoist Fire Dragon, and the others naturally began to investigate this phenomenon. Demonic energy and celestial energy were released, attacking the alternate dimension. However, in front of the 9 heavens Buddha Emperor, their strength was like a drop of water falling into the ocean. All they could detect was chaos and disorderly energy. They could not decipher any useful information in the face of this energy. He could only return resentfully. The Flame Chi Devil Master looked at enlightened Fiery Dragon, the evil Uncle Lord, and the other super powerful beings. He himself had failed, and what he was most worried about now was that the others had succeeded. That would mean that his strength might be weaker than the others, and that was something he could not accept. At the same time, Immortal Fire Dragon and the Evil Lord also looked at him. The 3 of them looked at each other. Although they were expressionless, the 3 of them were old experts with rich experience. The same action showed that the 3 of them had similar thoughts. It seems like none of you have discovered the profundities within. The Flame Chi Devil Master was the first to break the silence, laughing coldly. Flame Chi Devil Master, don't be so full of yourself. Did you see through the secret of this alternate dimension? Immortal Fire Dragon shouted. The holy monument is the treasure of the 9 heavens Buddha Emperor. It's not surprising that the Buddha Emperor's astral will exist within it. I don't think anyone here can resist the Buddha Emperor's astral will. Since none of you have discovered the profundities within, why not just admit it? The evil lord asked back with a cold smile. The flame chi devil master and immortal fire dragon frowned slightly, not saying anything else. At this moment, the patriarch, Wu Shuang, and the others were very worried about Yi Chen's situation. Being sealed in this unknown space, no one knew what was happening inside. At the same time, no one could stop it. Patriarch, how is Great Emperor Yi? A powerhouse could not help but ask. Everyone, what kind of person is Great Emperor Yi? He's a peerless genius that has never been seen before. We've all made it here. You don't think something will happen to him, do you? The patriarch is right. Great Emperor Yi is our only hope. He'll be fine. Yes, yes. Everyone shouted, hoping to bless Yi Chen with luck. However, the other factions seized this opportunity to mock Yi Chen like crazy. It seemed like Yi Chen was doomed this time. In the alternate space, Yi Chen was already talking to the Buddha Emperor's golden body. Nine Heavens Buddha Emperor, since you know that I'm the reincarnation of heaven and earth, what do you want? Yi Chen knew very little about the Nine Heavens Buddha Emperor. From the information he had obtained from the memory fragments, he could only confirm that this person knew the Heavenly Emperor from before. As for whether their relationship was good or bad, or if there were any other secrets, Yi Chen did not know. Therefore, Yi Chen did not dare to be careless when facing the Nine Heavens Buddha Emperor. Ha ha ha, old friend, it seems like your memory hasn't recovered yet. You've forgotten our relationship. Oh, tell me, what's your relationship with me? Back then, when I was comprehending the Buddhist Dharma, I encountered a bottleneck and went to Tianfo Mountain to cultivate, hoping to break through. However, I didn't expect the Dark Venerable Six Paths to covet the secret of Tianfo Mountain and ambushed me, severely injuring me. If it weren't for my old friend, wouldn't I have died without a burial place? Something like that happened. Yi Chen looked at the Buddha Emperor coldly. Naturally, there was no flaw in the Buddha Emperor's face. He could only find the answer from his memory. However, Yi Chen could not remember the situation at that time no matter how hard he racked his brains because it was a memory from another lifetime. Moreover, now was definitely not a good time to open the Tian Yuan space. Although Yi Chen was overbearing, he was not a reckless person. Regardless of whether the person before him was telling the truth or not, now was not the time to argue. Nine Heavens Buddha Emperor, since I've saved your life, how are you going to repay me? Ha ha ha. The Buddha Emperor laughed. Old friend, you're still the same as always. Extraordinary courage and straightforward words. Since you've spoken, I'll fulfill your wish as long as you listen to the Buddha's test. The Buddha's test? That's right. My holy tablet is one of the Buddha's 4 manifestations. It's extremely powerful, but to obtain its approval, the Buddha's test is unavoidable. How do I test it? Life and death are decreed by fate. Yi Chen suddenly turned around and found that the Buddha Emperor's golden body had risen into the air. The entire space changed rapidly, and he had already entered a golden hall.